Second. Sup, everybody? This is Karak with ACG, and I'm here with Reg, Absy, Johnny, and Silver by proxy somewhere in the internet. Just listening, I'm sure, hoping that we do well without him, watching in black and white. And our special guest, Wanderingdutch. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us on the podcast. I absolutely appreciate it. He answered the bat signal, as he stated. He's like, all right, whatever, I'll come on. He's like, I was going to sit and do absolutely nothing, just hold my junk. But you asked, I'm going to show up. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about. As you guys know, in the announcement here, I talk about donation. This is something that I do for a lot of different donations. So I hear a lot of people be like, well, what about-isms? Currently, I don't give a fuck about whatabouts. Right now, I'm donating to the War Fund. I'll match any super chat that's labeled donation up to $10,000 in total. Want to make sure people aren't thinking I'll continue to match multiple $10,000 donations, because that would be haunting. But I will end up doing that. So if you guys want to do a super chat and you put in that it's about a donation to that, I will match it up to 10. That's mine. No, no like sponsors or anything like that. We don't do sponsors.
It's not big pharma. It's not
even though technically I'm drinking a Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew, best tasting. Okay, I'm just
wow, I thought you weren't sponsored, dude. What the fuck? This is a lie. Everyone, his reviews are bullshit.
His reviews, dude. That's why people be like, bullshit, you can do a sponsor now. I'm like, you're setting me up, bitch. Because the moment I do, people be like, I mean, I could probably do a sponsor for something unrelated, like fleshlights or something.
Dude, some dude thought you were paid off by From when you rated a game a wait for a sale. Dude, so anything can happen, right?
It was so crazy. They were like, "Oh, he's fucking paid off, man." He said to wait for a sale. I'm like, motherfucker, nobody would pay for that. Can you imagine how much trouble a PR company would be in if they were like,
"Hey man, maybe it's like next level 5-head shit where they're trying to make
a hydra of like PR ideas,
psychological warfare."
Yeah, they're like, let's grab him for a couple. And then let's go over here and finally pay him for like a good review. By the way, that sounds really cool, but we'll all forget because From takes like 11 years to make a game. So I'm not too worried about it.
True.
Like by that point, I hope I'm still alive and haven't like had a pork rind slowly work its way into my heart. Which
you know what's funny? Good. They actually had George R.R. Martin, which is the meme for taking long to do stuff. They had him on this game as well.
Dude, what did he do? Did he like fart near the game? He did. Okay, he actually did, right?
He helped them with the myth of the world, and then they played a D&D game in it in their minds. Basically, that's awesome. What I took. Yeah, and I don't mean they sat down and rolled some fucking dice. What I mean is they allowed him to make this mythology of creation and all this stuff so that they could adventure in their minds in it, and create that way. And I personally feel that that's one of the reasons why we see success there.
True. Maybe that's why they're pushing out the lore more, and it's more clear in this game.
Definitely more clear. Games. But let's be clear here. Wanderingdutch, special guest. We need to make sure people know what you do. It is time to pimp your channel, pimp your stuff. Go for it. Sell out.
Awesome. Well, I started on this fine YouTube quest about almost 2 years ago now. We started with a small podcast, which has now grown to over 1,300 subs. Called the Midweek Mix-Up Podcast. Of course, we have kind of evolved a little bit from that now into streaming game content, some reviews, our reviews mainly center around indie games when we do them. So we've worked with quite a few indie developers. We do an annual indie showcase as well, roughly about 2 hours long, that involves developers up and coming, new, unreleased, unheard of, to get the word out about more indie companies. And of course, like I say, for ourselves, we also have what we class as the Collective, which is a group of podcasts that are very small, that we help grow and kind of find their footing and help them get a little bit better as well.
Excellent. And thank you very much for doing that. I absolutely appreciate it. Real quick, we do have super chats I want to read. Let's scroll up here. I'm going to read these quick. Top G821, 20-pound super chat, I think. To show my sport, love the podcast. Keep up the great work, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. James Walter, $20. Thanks for everything you guys do. Also, shout out to Johnny's channel for the unique topics. Been loving it. That's awesome. I love the guy who's like trash opinion. And just as I was getting ready to reply to this guy on Twitter, Johnny replied back and he's like, do you have any kind of real feedback? other than just trash opinion as a comment. I was like, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for
Trash
you.
opinion. Yes.
I mean, just the low effort stuff is like, it's
Dude,
funny.
I attack the fuck out of low effort. People be like, why do you waste your time? And I'm like, it's not a waste. It's not. True stupid lives forever unless you fight it. Right? Like, that's, you're on my side or the Sith side. Warp Speed, $10, 4-piece. Thank you. I'm assuming that's for donation, so I will make sure to mark that down. Butterball, $20, donation. Thank you very much, Butterball. Let me make a little spot here. And what I'll do is I'll try to make some kind of video about this and put you guys on it. Maybe it'll run at the starting of these. 20 donation, Butterball. I'm just writing these down. And Necromancer Zal says, donation, keep up the great work and reviews come in ACG. Your reviews really help me make smart game purchases and find new games I wouldn't normally look at. Thank you very much. Though I mean, let's be honest.
They must not be referring to Elix too, because that looked pretty jank.
Oh, true. True. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Did we put that on the list to talk about?
No, not even. But you covered so many games this month, dude. You got like 6 reviews.
Yeah.
Did you even have free time this month? Like, did you sleep at all, or
yeah,
what's
like
going
an
on?
hour a night. The thing is about like the reviews and stuff. One of the nice things is I knew the microtransactions were in GT, which we're going to talk about because fuck you.
Oh,
That's
God.
insane.
Yeah.
I knew those were in there. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to get a chance. And people were doing full reviews. I saw a couple, but I was like, dude, that can't be a full. You literally, there's no way you could review that game because I know when the codes went out, even for preview. And I'm like, nah. So that one, review in progress are a little easier because I really want to make sure my argument is solid if it's like a review. Because I'm not going to be somebody that 2 years later, you're like, hey, man, you changed your opinion on this game. No, that's not going to happen. So that was a review in progress. Elix was a review in progress as well. So those are a little easier to do because I can still give all the data, but at the same time, once I put my foot down, I really want to be like, no, fuck you. If like somebody disagrees with me, I'll be like, no, this is why you can trust that this is my opinion. Versus, and I'm not saying you can trust
anything
that
can
I'm
happen.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, anything can happen where they could patch a game and make it trash.
They could patch a game
add
1.02
microtransactions.
patch, like let's say for a From Software game, and make
don't
it.
talk about that. Okay.
Oh, we're going to talk about it. But anyway, Wandering Dutch, thank you very much for showing up. Thanks to these guys for showing up. Silver was ill, didn't feel well. His leg was hurting, so he is not going to join us today. But I think we'll carry on fairly well without him. We'll have to see. Well, I mean, if we don't, you guys can rate us, and you guys can be like, dude, he needs to be there, or just shut the podcast down. I think that's
worthless without Silver. Yeah.
Or people just be like, dude, thank God. No, I'm just joking. Contrarian Silver, thank God. No, I'm just joking. All right. So let's discuss. The first thing I want to discuss is GTA microtransactions, or GT7 microtransactions.
Yeah.
Right.
We are going to talk about GTA as well. But so GT7 microtransactions. I did a review in progress on this, and I was racing, and I was doing hard, medium, easy, looking at the credits, going, hey man, this isn't that bad. This seems like a doable process. And the fucking microtransaction prices, the store went live, and it is flatly ridiculous. It is so Absy and I
700% higher than GT Sport.
Thanks. See, somebody had numbers. Absy and I were trying to figure out if there was any game that had numbers this high. So let me read a thing. This is from a very good website that broke this down. Video Games Chronicle broke this down. So listen to this. You can get 4 packages, 100,000 credits, 250,000, 750,000, and mark this in your brains, 2 million. Those are for $249, $499, $10, or $20. And that seems okay. But let me describe to you a couple of the cars available in GT Sport versus now and how much they are. Aston Martin Vulcan. It was $5 in GT Sport, $40. McLaren P1 GTR, $5 in GT Sport, $40. Audi R18 TDI, $3 in GTA Sport, $40. A large number of the cars cost $1 million. Guess what I just read? You can't fucking buy $1 million. They force you to buy $2 million.
That's
And-
the thing a lot of games with microtransactions do, where they have something that's worth, let's say, 1,000 points,
Yeah.
but you can only pay for,
Yeah.
let's say,
Of
1,500.
course.
Or you have to
Then you'll have
smash
points
coal
left
in your
over.
asshole to turn it into a diamond, to translate it into a fucking
Right.
purple ruby, to take it
Well, it's
and
always,
make it into
it's
an
always
emerald.
sums that don't make sense, so that you have to buy two
Buy two-
packages.
It's
two
like, oh, let me
packages.
top that
Then
off,
you
right?
have cash left over and think, oh well, to make use of that, I have to buy another package.
Yeah.
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 So now let me explain something. Now I went back and I looked at how many credits I was getting, and I was like, oh fuck. Because I was thinking possibly double of what other car games cost. It is spectacularly expensive. And here's the thing. I like the game a lot. But I was telling Abzy prior to the podcast, I felt that some games are more fun. This is a simulation game, and you get your fun from a different style. However, they've priced them well. They've priced themselves right out of any PC gamer buying that. Unless the PC gamer is just nuts, where most sim games exist. If I was a PC-only gamer, sim racer, and I was thinking, man, GT looks good, maybe I'll jump in, and I saw that shit, I'd be like, nope, staying over here.
Yeah. I mean, even iRacing is cheaper, right? Even buying cars on iRacing is probably cheaper than that.
Let me read some super chats here, and we'll continue to talk about this. Let's go. Here we got James Walter, $2 super chat. One man's trash is another man's treasure. That's true. I don't know what that's about. Possibly talking about
that was the
my
comment
junk.
we said about trash before.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That makes more sense, because I was like, what the fuck? Stray Cat 1, ACG best game reviewer in the business, $10 super chat. Thank you very much. Tristan Martin, donation. Love the stream, guys. Keep being rad. $20 super chat. 20 from Tristan. And then Ed, CA20. Did we ever figure, is that Canadian?
CA20?
CA.
Yeah,
What's
I think
Like
is it?
2020
No,
Canada?
Canadian's CAD, isn't it? CAD.
I think Canadian's CAD. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
CAD.
he gave us some CA $20. Doesn't matter. Donation, super chat. He also put the Ukrainian flag in there. So I'm going to say that's a donation. And then, listen to this. Lyrian, $100 donation match. Ooh. Good for you. I'm writing this down. And then, yeah. And then, thanks for stealing my thunder. Get him out of here. I'm just welcome. Chris J. Torres, $500 super chat for the donation that I'll be matching. Thank you very much, Chris. You're a special person. Well, you're all special. Poth is back again. 449 with the little tornado. I don't even know what it is.
The squiggly currency.
I love him, man. And by the way, I want to say thanks. You show up every single podcast. You're always here, always asking questions. Playing Splinter Cell Conviction on Xbox Series X. It holds up so good. Control is so smooth. This money is for ACG. Thank you very much. The money's for everybody as a group, because I do pay them, and occasionally on time. Because sometimes I'll miss it, and then sometimes I remember one of you guys, you guys are like, dude, that's like 3 times the amount I owe, and I'm like, I'll probably miss one, whatever, fuck it. So yeah, we try to make sure they get paid for being on here as well. I definitely appreciate all those donations. Like I said, I'll be matching those for the war effort. Just making sure kids are taken care of and stuff like that, because I know people have different dividing lines. But I think if your dividing line is fuck, the kids, then I don't want you around. Right, I think we can all agree on that part. I think personally we shouldn't be doing anything.
In a world where we don't agree about anything, that may be like one of the
that's probably
cornerstones.
yeah. And I don't have kids. Pacog J. I don't know what that is either. $10. I'm just gonna say $10, people. I apologize. I'm gonna start looking this up. That's euros. Even more than $10. That's like $6,000. Well, hi, guys. Keep up the awesome work and dedication you bring every week. Love this podcast. You guys are the best. Greetings from Portugal. Thank you very much, man. I love finding out people are just from all over the world here. Icebreaker, donation, $10. ACG making it rain for Ukraine. Also, please see that 10 cents of this goes to Reg's Lost Ark Addicts Anonymous Fund.
Good. He needs it.
He does need it, man. That's
intervention.
Yes. Thank you for that.
Johnny's got a gun says, lay off the poor man's cocaine. No, he doesn't say cock quain, which is even weirder. So I don't know. Maybe he's on cocaine. He's telling himself to lay off.
Yeah.
Next one up, Accelerated Evolution. Donation for Absy's hospital fund when he duels Windy.
Oh, that's the guy we played Splitgate with.
Yeah, I saw he did say he reached out to you. Dirty Lithium, just passing on to donate. We'll watch the VOD later. Have a great evening, guys. Thank you very much. Dirty Lithium. Yeah, that is right. Dirty Lithium. If I get these wrong in the video or when I pronounce them, yes, I admit I personally fuck up names on games. I'm not personally fucking up names on people. I just want to, because I know some people might take that as an offense, but as somebody named Jeremy, names don't mean shit to me. Dart77, $20 super chat with a smiley face. Oh, so I guess that's not a donation. $20 super chat with a smiley face. Thank you very much. Let's jump back into this. GT. So, why do you guys
Let me ask you this, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
What kind of stuff are we talking in terms of like microtransactions? What can you buy? And
Cars and parts.
Yep.
And can you buy it just by like grinding out normally in the game? And
yeah, but like I said, I assumed the prices would be twice as much as normal racing games, and I felt that was slightly okay because I knew there would be some kind of whatever, but this is a $70 game already. So to give you a good example, 10 cars is the cost of a PlayStation. Like, to me, that's ridiculous. 2 cars is more than the game total. It just doesn't make sense. It does.
2 cars.
2 cars. 2 of the $40 cars. I just want to make sure we're, you know, but a lot are 40. It's just outrageous, man. And the 1 million lakh purchase thing that we all know the game. We're not fucking idiots. We all know exactly why that was done. I hate it, man. It's just.
I don't understand why they don't go down the exact route every other racer usually does. I know it's meant to be a sim racer, but it's a console sim racer first and foremost.
Yeah.
And they usually do car passes. Where you pay for the car passes, much like you do a season pass, and every time they drop a bundle, you get a bundle of cars within the car pass. Otherwise, you can just earn the credits and buy the cars in game. Right? If you have a look, and again, you're comparing it to another recent racing game, granted it's open world, Forza Horizon, that piles on the in-game credits, where you end up with far too much anyway, and you can buy almost anything in the game. And then you also have the car passes that come with it, and then you have the seasonal events that come with it, but it doesn't force you to purchase everything separately. You can essentially buy everything in-game anyway. There is no kind of microtransaction-esque type stuff in there. If you have a look at another simulator, if you're talking about simulator prices, even if you're looking to compare versus Flight Sim's microtransactions and Flight Sim's store, the cost of extremely high detailed simulated planes, fighter jets, etc. within that game, that's people spend thousands of hours creating, getting engine sounds from aviators and working with them to get the aerodynamics correct and everything like that. And the max price you'll pay for a plane is £20. So it's like $20 odd.
Yeah.
And that's someone that puts literally thousands of hours into creating it. I don't understand where they've got the pricing for this.
No, doesn't it feel like it's out of the future? It feels like a game. It feels like this should be GT14 that we're talking about these prices. Like it's, and when I saw it, I jumped in and I saw a couple articles about it and I was like, wait, what? Like that doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm sure. And nah, man, it just is. It's freakishly expensive, and I don't get their plan for the prices. Now, some people are saying, oh, because the store wasn't available for review, they did that to get positive reviews. Usually, I say no, but here I would say I think a lot of people would have separated their review and said, I love the game, but the prices are ridiculous, or something like that. Yeah. Me, I'm stuck. It's like, buy, wait for a sale, wait for a deep sale, never touch. I can't say, like, there's no way for me to say 7.8 and I took 3 points off. I just have to stick at a certain thing. I don't know. I don't know if that's what they did, because almost all stores are turned off when you start, when you review. So it's like, I can't say they're the first. And I can't be like, and we're going to talk about some other stuff that has to do with Sony and some other things people are complaining about. But it's sad, man. It's sad. There's so many other racing games. There's Assetto Corsa. There's the new one in Assetto Corsa's lineup. That I can't remember. It's like a French word. You know, and that looks amazing. There's a sim racing as Abzi. That's what it was. iSim.
I was looking up
iRacing?
the iRacing in the meantime, and cars there cost between $3 and $12.
Yeah,
Dude,
and iRacing.
what
No, but the thing is, iRacing isn't a $70 whatever game, and it's like the thing pros use, like the sim racing thing where you buy your car and that's it. Yeah, I don't think. Do you even buy the game, Reg? Like, I don't think you even.
I don't
but
think
they
you
have
buy
some
ice
kind
cream.
of subscription.
They have a
I don't know what
subscription.
it does.
No, they have a subscription for the race. Yeah, because those are real races too. They have like cars,
Yeah, they're
like
real.
yellow
Like
cars or whatever. And shit.
they're as real as it gets for sim racers, and it's just ridiculous to me that a $70 game, which isn't going to be as hardcore as iRacing, is charging that much. They're definitely. I am 100% sure they're gonna change it or something.
I would assume, because I'm gonna give my review score in a probably today. I haven't decided when I'm gonna record this, but you can bet that's taken into account. Like it's I'm sorry, it's ridiculous. Like, because the grind will be ridiculous. And that's one of the reasons why I was like, I said it in the review. I rarely will say this in a review because I don't think it's fair. I don't know. But I was like, on this one game, you can't have beat it. You could have beat the tutorial, maybe, because that's all it is. But it's like, you can't have got enough to really say, all this makes sense. And I would, dude, the grind there, that's ridiculous. Like, that is absolutely unacceptable. I'm going to read some super chats. Go for it.
I was going to say, I've got about 2 hours in it so far. I played it just before I came on here. About 2 hours in it. And I think within those 2 hours, aside from the fact that because I'd pre-ordered it, I had 120,000 credits anyway. I think total credits I earned in those 2 hours through races and then through whatever these token roulette things are that you get. Which is essentially Forza wheel spins. The amount of credits I earned in those 2 hours, including those, was about 70,000. So we're talking, if you're talking about 2 million credit cars, it's going to take a fair chunk. It's going to take a good maybe 8 to 12, maybe it's a little bit more than that to get a 2 million credit car.
That's insane.
All right,
That's
I'm gonna
me.
read these and we'll get moving on. Yeah, it's mind-numbing how insane it is. So we do have a correction. Poison Dart did want his to be for the donation. No problem there. $19.99 and $4.99. And then we've got a Red Dirty Lithium's pack. He gave donation $10, and this is for those who need the most right now. Heart. Kel, donation $10. Thank you very much, Kel. Accelerated Evolution, again, in Elden Ring, I want to show Abzi the business. Or show him the business, and then he says donation as well. So he's paying to basically play with a popular streamer, Abzi.
Wow, I am the popular streamer, Abzi. I have 1 million followers on TikTok.
I was going to say on somewhere non-related, on Telegram. Peter Bordak, 20, donation. Greetings from Slovakia. Loving the podcast. Keep bringing us the amazing reviews. Is one of the best out there. Thank you very much. And then moving on, Dead Space Martyr 90, donation to Ukraine, $20. Symbol the Rapper Music, just wanted to help. God bless, $4.99. I'm going to write that down as a donation because I assume by the wording there, Symbol the Rapper Music, that's what that was for. And Big Bopper 2000, Knock 100. That's the Norse one, right? That's like, what is that?
Yeah. Norwegian Corona.
Norwegian. And I can't read what he says. I apologize. I'm not going to ruin that. But it's definitely a donation. Somebody else want to try reading that? I have no clue what Slava Ukrainian. I hope it's not a cuss word. Like, that would be terrible if I said something. I'm going to have to watch out for those. Spaniard on the Moon, $20. Always great to be here. Let's do this, gents. Trampus Hog. Wow, $20. Nice. I'm working, but stuck out of the office to make a quick donation, or snuck out of the office to make a quick donation. Looking forward to listening to the podcast later. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right. I think I've got... Oh, more. Okay. Hang on. This updated while
more.
I was reading.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. All right, more.
Slava Ukrainia is glory to Ukraine, by the way.
Glory to Ukraine. There we go. Zach, 50 PLN. PLN.
Paladin.
Paladin.
No, Polish.
Poland?
Kroner?
Yeah. No, that's German.
I think.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys, for being Best Gaming Podcast. I love to watch you every week. Walk and the Walk vids are the best gaming content on YouTube. P.S. Cyberpunk wasn't that bad.
It was.
Fighting
It
words.
wasn't.
Listen.
I have to disagree.
It's worse than bad.
I'm not. Hey,
Let's do it.
no. Thanks for the donation. We're moving on. Inevitable. Why is it that games with fall at the end really do fall? Ha! You caught my joke. Godfall, Babylon's Fall, also keeping them single console exclusive and PC. Inevitable, man, I don't know, but Babylon's did fall. Like, that game had a max of. Did you guys?
It fell hard.
It got its
hard.
ass kicked, man. It was raw how bad that thing got screwed. And it was.
Greedfall is good though.
Oh,
Wait,
there
is
you
it
go.
called Greedfall? Yeah, Greedfall.
Oh,
is good.
Greedfall. I read Godfall in my head,
Daggerfall.
and I was like,
No,
that's
I'm
why
not
everything.
Johnny.
That's why
You're
No,
everything
it
got
was just
quiet.
going for an exception to the fall rule.
Yeah, that is a good exception. Greedfall. Who liked Greedfall in here? We all liked Greedfall in some way,
Yeah.
right?
Very good game.
Yeah. I saw Reg.
I was like, I mean, not enough that I excused.
It's not Lost Ark, right? So
It's not Lost Ark. No, it
Yeah,
is.
there-
Lance, $5 super chat. You guys always keep it real. This community is best from my Ukrainian coworker with family currently fleeing. Thanks for matching. No worries. Beastie by nature. $9 super chat donation. I appreciate you for all you and the team do. You've saved me some bad gaming decisions when the CGI gloss of trailers have a stranglehold on the wallet. Man, I had to live through that Killzone. What game was that? Killzone 2 PlayStation trailer? Wasn't that Killzone?
Oh, that it was
that was the one,
Killzone.
yeah.
Yep.
Man, they were so full of shit.
Yeah.
Donut with sprinkles. A donut with sprinkles. Donation $50 super chat. Insanely awesome community that's been built here. Cheers. Thank you very much. Donut with sprinkles. Let me get that right. All right. That's where I'm pausing for now so we can continue. Nope. Okay. I'm pausing in just a second. Accelerated Evolution, $2. 2 more to stay level-headed. Shabs, $10 super chat. Also forgot to write donation. Well, you didn't need to do another super chat, but thank you. Paul Cathcart, $1.79 super chat. Baseball Gear 7, 100. Thank you for doing this. Have a great Friday, everybody. I'm assuming, because he says thank you for doing this, that's a donation.
Yeah.
Baseball Gear, who, by the way, in the picture is rocking an ACG face mask. I'm just saying.
Nice.
I'm just
Let's
saying
go.
we save lives. We fucking
Hell
save
yeah.
lives. We save lives. That's why we're here.
You do.
Accelerated Evolution, $5. Greedfall is the only good fall. Babylon versus Elden Ring sales is murderous. Babylon Fall versus
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Well,
think
of course.
I think that's
yeah.
I think that's a given. Like, the amount of returns is higher probably on Elden Ring than
Yeah.
Babylon Fall will ever sell.
Oh.
Let that
I
sink
I
in.
was thinking this was
Oh,
going
yeah.
another way. Like,
Okay.
the amount
Yeah.
of returns is higher than people buying it
That's what I'm saying. The amount
Yeah.
the
No.
amount of
within the same game.
That'd be amazing.
Nice.
We sold 2,000 copies of Babylon's Fall. 4,000 were
Gave
returned.
it away for free, and they're like, nope, refunding. it.
179 Poth again. ACG, what is the game engine you messed around? What is the game engine you messed around with? I think what you're asking me is when I was talking about messing around with game engines for the D&D game and stuff, Unreal and Unreal, which is pretty good, and what's the easy Unity?
Yeah.
The one that's really easy to sort of get things up and running.
That's Unity. Yeah.
That was Unity, and I gotta say, I had a lot of issues with Unity that I didn't have with Unreal, and I'm having different issues with Unreal that I didn't have with Unity. So, it's very difficult when you're making something and you're new with all this to sort of get it done.
Just make your own game engine, dude.
Inzetti, $10
Trivial.
donate. Yeah, Inzetti, $10 super chat. Walking the Walk, one of the favorite things to watch, by the way. Love your insights. Donation, thank you very much. Zach, is that right? Zach Zarzak? I think that's right.
No,
I didn't need to
I'm
know
not
I
even
put
trying.
donation
I'm not
in. Let's
Silver.
get some help for our Ukrainian neighbors. Yeah, but Silver just pretends he's saying it right. Who fucking knows?
Yes, but with such conviction.
He does.
I mean,
Actually, that's
True.
All right, let's move on. Last words on GT. Now, people, I'm not going to look at super chats for just a bit so we can move on. So, GT7, any other further thoughts before we move on?
Well, incidentally, I just realized why hot dog buns and the dogs themselves come in packs of 4 and 6 respectively, because they want you to buy another pack of buns. That was from the microtransactions.
Oh,
I've always
right.
wondered.
Okay.
There you go. That's
last
capitalism,
thoughts.
baby.
That's a Hydra thought. That's like evil G.I. Joe Cobra thought right there. And it happens with everything that I know of where two things have to be mixed. For I mean, even like
Right.
things that are sort of tangential, like cheese slices next to hamburger, you'll notice like there's 12
Oh,
slices
that
of
never
cheese
matches. Yeah.
and 6 slices or 6 hamburger buns. And you'd be
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's for sure. And I'm sure price also has something to do with it, obviously, for the different things being completely manufactured. But I mean, it is still very, very odd when you see those pricing. So long story short, I'm going to be doing the final whatever for GT7 as I continue to play it and give you guys the final thoughts on that. But I got to say that the final thoughts, at least right now, are just completely filled with audacity. The audacity of them to price it that high. It's ridiculous. Moving on from here, let's talk. So two things came up. The first is blacklisted reviewers. So iReview and Dutch reviews. So I'm just going to say my piece, let Dutch say his piece if he wants to talk about this, and then move on. Real quick, I got a bunch of tweets and DMs where people were saying groups had been blacklisted from Sony for saying like bad things about a game, right? Not liking a game. And one of the things one of the reasons why is because in the past, communication had been open, and then after that, in the next game, communication had been lean. And this will be the 11th video that I've done on this, where first, you're not owed a review code, ever. And we've seen big corporations with 3 letters state, oh, we did, just pussy aching, sitting there going like, we did a preview, we should for sure get review code. No, you're not owed a code. I don't know why you didn't get one, but you're not owed one. You're also not owed a response. You're not. It sucks. But that's just the way the world works because it's not perfect. There is no real connection between the game company and a reviewer. There isn't. There is no actual factual connection. They don't even need to give review codes, but they do, and they get to choose who they give them to. But I can tell you guys right now, let me read you some of my review scores super quick. I looked this up, and you can tell me if you think I'm paid off. By the way, I wasn't even brought up in this conversation, but I can also explain to you guys why this proves you can't be blacklisted unless you are untruthful, which is a thing. So if somebody says there's 400 cars and there's 100, good chance you won't get their next code. Far Cry 6, wait. Deathloop, wait for Deep Deep Sale. The Medium, wait for 1 cent. Valhalla, wait. Like a Dragon, wait. Like a Dragon was a very popular game, by the way. I just wasn't enjoying
Did you
it.
actually say wait for 1 cent?
I did. Oh, yeah.
For the Medium.
Watch Dogs, wait. Last of Us 2, wait. And I get it. People love Last of Us 2. I didn't think it was a super awesome game. Ghost Recon Breakpoint, deep sale. Days Gone, unacceptable, don't get it, PS4. Far Cry, New Dawn, deep sale. Far Cry Lost on Mars, deep sale. The Crew, deep sale. Far Cry 5, wait. Sea of Thieves, deep sale, or until they actually add some content, because that game sucked when it first came out. Origins, yeah. Assassin's Creed Origins, a game that I would say is more beloved than the one I like. Well, maybe not now. Wait. If you were going to get blacklisted for... Those are just some that I found. If I was going to get blacklisted, Ubisoft would blacklist me. For sure. It would make absolutely no sense. They're hoping at some point Karak's going to be like, I like your game, which I did. Phoenix Rising, or Immortals Phoenix Rising, I loved. Mm-hmm. I loved Odyssey. Fucking love that game. Valhalla, I gave away.
Division.
Division 1 and 2. Both. Dude, great games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So my personal opinion on this is that somebody didn't get a response back, and that's what happens. That's just life. People are busy. They look at you. They look at your last coverage if they can, and they, for whatever reason, decide, hey, this isn't the game for you. They may also look at the genre of the game. That happens for me. I'll get a post where somebody says, we know you don't usually cover this. Do you want to cover it? Or I'll say, hey, can I cover this? And they're like, oh, we decided not to, reach out to you because we didn't think you would want this code. We'd love you to have it. it does happen. Dutch, do you have any thoughts on all this?
Yeah, I think you are 100% right in what you say. You're not owed a code, like, at all. There is no, and like you say, there is no contractual obligation between yourselves and them, other than when you get the code, it's standard NDA practices, essentially. Before that, there is no written agreement to say that you're ever going to continuously always get codes. It doesn't work like that. Like,
Yeah,
that's not it. You're never guaranteed a code. You've got essentially kind of either ask for one, and if you don't get it, they don't have to give you a reason. It's just a case of no, not on this occasion. They've not said themselves that they're never ever giving the reviewer in question codes ever again. From what I can make out, it's just a case of they just didn't provide a GT7 review code. It's always hit or miss depending on who it is and the company that you use. It's never always straightforward. Some of them are easier to deal with than others. Some of them are very forthcoming in review codes. Some of them aren't. And then sometimes specifically in demographics, they send a lot of review codes out to internationals, the US.
yeah, right.
But Europe doesn't get. They get
Near
like
as
two,
much.
yeah, 2-3 big creators, and that's about it. So it's extremely hit or miss. But no one's ever specifically guaranteed a code, no matter how big they are. I've spoken to a lot of people, kind of like you say, your size, even higher in terms of sub counts and feedbacks, etc. And even they're never guaranteed a code ever.
Yeah.
I don't know why some people assume that they're expecting one, and then to make an article saying that they've been blacklisted. There was no way in that response from the company that they work with where it says they've been blacklisted. It just says they just haven't told you what.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I always tell people too is it also depends on how you what you cover. So, for example, if you're very technical on something and they don't feel the game's ready technically to withstand your onslaught, but it's maybe early access or something, they may not give it to you. I can tell you straight up, Cyberpunk, that makes sense why I didn't get a review copy. I did get offered one and turned that down, but at the first group, I wasn't even getting responses, and they were the ones who reached out to me. And it just died up. And so I think it's okay to bitch about those things and be like, oh, I wanted them, or, or tell people about what's happened. But when you start dropping this blacklisting thing, you have to look at a company's long-term. Like, it's hard to be blacklisted from, let's say, CD Projekt Red. They've only released a very few games.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. I mean, Witcher 3 was so many years ago. If the PR person is still there, which, by the way, only one is, then most likely they're not going to have that data anyway. And admittedly, guys, you're talking to somebody right here who's been called names, and on accident, they forwarded the email to me. I mean, and that was a huge company that was like, this fat piece of shit doesn't deserve anything from us. And they accidentally had my name in the reply, and they replied the entire email thing to me in front of their entire group. So it's just like, if there's anybody to defend them, it ain't me, but I will defend like the solid factual stats of it all and that kind of thing. So
I think what I'll add to it as well, though, is specifically, like I say, with the vast majority of reviewers that I know, all of them, if they don't get review codes, will be buying the game anyway and will be reviewing it off their own back. And even if they're getting a review code, the vast majority of them, if they do like it and if they're anticipating it, will buy a copy anyway.
Yeah.
It's usually just how it goes. On that side, that particular site to me just sounds like they essentially live off review codes and they don't purchase the games off their own back. Which
I still believe psychology-wise, you can prove that makes a difference, buying it versus not. But some people who don't take code or who don't buy their own games will argue that. I've never seen anybody who does buy their own games argue against it. Like, I think psychology has proven that to the nth degree. But that was what I wanted to discuss, blacklisted codes. And then let's move on. Let's talk about something good. What's something good we have?
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring, dude.
Okay, no spoilers. While you do Elden Ring, what I'm going to do is take down these super chats to read them. So start with who's done. So Reg has done 2, but he hasn't done 2 after last Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm 70 hours in.
Okay. Dutch, how many hours are you in?
Flat 0. I'm going to be listening intently to see if you can convince me to purchase the
Okay,
game.
so
Buy it.
Johnny and Abzi, go.
What? I
You
love
go
the
first.
game.
That's it.
No, dude. I
Good
no, I
podcast.
haven't.
Go ahead, Abzi.
And I don't know. I just haven't been this addicted to a single player game in a while.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a while. Like an open world game. Usually open worlds, especially when they have like a repetitive gameplay loop, they lose me. I just can't get enough because I feel like I'm always getting surprised by something new. Exploration is super rewarding, and I think that's like my favorite thing about the game. Obviously the combat is great. The hitboxes are amazing. Like doing a certain attack that has you crouched on the ground and someone swinging a sword on top over you, and I don't know. It's just I'm really loving it. Performance issues aside. By the way, they have been updating the game. I have been getting some stutters, but not as much as before. But I'm absolutely always in awe. I'm entranced. There's a lot of really cool soundtracks. I've fought a couple bosses where I've just, it was beautiful that I actually was happy that I died because I wanted to keep it going. Some dungeon soundtracks. It's just the NPCs you meet and random things you find, like random puzzles, and just the whole thing with no waypoints and just exploration being immensely rewarding. I know it gives me anxiety a little bit that I'm gonna miss some things on my first playthrough unless I look things up, of course, but just that sheer sense of wonder. And one thing it does really well is it combines a lot of things I dreamt of as a kid that I wanted in fantasy games into this game, like fighting a dragon on horseback, plus like there was this other thing where like two people on horseback fighting each other, or there's a lot of random stuff I can't really pinpoint right now. I'm just blanking, but where I was like, holy shit, like I've always wanted this in a fantasy game. And I think it's just, I'm really, really enjoying it, as you can tell. So, yeah.
Johnny?
I think for me, and just for context, I'm about 42 hours in. For me, it's the surprising thing is how good of an open world game it is, because it's kind of their first, right? You could argue DS1 is open world, but really it's kind of, you have paths, right? And
Yeah,
it's fairly linear.
It's not open world.
Right?
It's open
Yeah.
locations, open hub, but it is absolutely not open world.
So for me, this is like an amazing open world game, and the Souls is the cherry on top, to the point where you could not like Souls and actually really enjoy this game.
Right.
Because they give you so many ways of engaging with the game that don't really rely on the typical, mechanically accurate dodge every attack with a roll. You could block, use magic, summon, co-op, right? You have so many. The horse, right? Horse combat is a huge thing in this that makes some encounters a lot easier if you want that.
So but badass.
Like, yeah. And it's legit. Like, there are mechanics. It's not just a gimmick. You can choose to attack on the right or on the left. You can use either of your weapons on horse. So you could, use your bow if you want. Like, the options are so overwhelming in this. And the fact that the exploration actually gives you good shit is surprising. Because you might be exploring, you go into a catacombs, and you have like an Indiana Jones like trap thing that you have to get through. You get to the end, and maybe you get like an amazing weapon art, or Ash of War, I think it's called. And maybe that changes your weapon entirely, because now you have a new move. I found one that's incredibly OP that does amazing damage, for example. Completely changed how I play the game, because now I'm using L2 instead of, like my normal attack. And there are bigger ones that impact more, but it's just like how rewarding it is, and how many times I'm like, whoa, like you run into something legitimately surprising and cool in the world. You just ride your horse and you run into stuff that's amazing.
It's like there can, not only finding things, but sometimes you get driven into a path where a certain sequence of events can happen that is unique to you, where you kind of you kind of are given the tools to tell your own adventure. Like my certain actions that I did to get to somewhere might be different than yours. And it's just, there's a lot of flexibility there. One thing I also appreciate a lot is the uniqueness. Obviously there's enemy types, bosses, it's a Souls game, but the armor and the weapons, there's just so many, and they all look cool that I want all my stats to be at 99 because I want to use it all. There's just so many cool things I'd like to wear and use, and with different move sets. And there's a fucking skeleton arm, like a broken skeleton arm, grasped on your hand, and it's a fist weapon. It's like literally like this, and you're just holding two of them, and you can punch people. It's just insane. I don't know. It's really cool.
I think I've talked pretty much what I want to say about Elden Ring, other than I mean, I'll cover some of this in Walking the Walk once technically it's been patched up. I'm still getting stutters. I'm getting worse stutters in the last patch than the patch. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And by the way, no, it's not the cache. God damn. I hate when people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about go out there and be like, it's for sure this. We know for sure. It's like, if it was for sure that, the developer would have fixed that. It's not that. Yeah. We've already told them about it. It's fucking not that. There's actually like some incompatibility weirdness going on. I think the thing with Elden Ring, first of all, and we'll talk about this in a moment when we talk about comparisons and what you're allowed to compare and not allowed to compare these days. But I think with Elden Ring, if you're a big Dark Souls fan, every time a new Dark Souls came out, you explored it because it was a new location, and you sort of had the assumption of how the mechanics worked. That's how sequel works. If it was different, if it was a racing game, people would be like, what the fuck? But it's not. It's pretty much always the same. Bloodborne changed some of those mechanics, made you be more aggressive. Sekiro changed those and had the guard. Nioh does its own thing, but they're not from. But I mean, just talking about froms. So with Elden Ring, what I personally believe is they looked at this and were like, all right, do we have another hub? What do we do? How do we make it look different? Blah, blah, blah. And what has happened is the overworld part has made it so that fans of FromSoft games are as surprised as non-fans. And I think that's why you're getting the shock and awe, the shock and awe style of what the fuck? Because a new person can finally look at it and go, I know how to play Skyrim. So if I just assume the enemies are harder, I can still jump on a horse and ride around them. And that is, by the way, exactly what you can do. And there's immunity frames on horses, by the way. So if you fucking get on and off your horse, so if a bad guy's attacking you, you can literally say dismount, and there'll be an
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Dude, there's been so many times where I've lived because the sword's coming down, and I'm like, run away! And I leap on and there's an immunity frame there when you get on and off the horse. So I just personally believe that's why there's so much excitement, is because when you look at it, it's not just, personally, I don't think it's the most gorgeous game in the world. Artistically, there's some very cool stuff, but it is also very basic. There's a lot of places that look rough, and like there's just a tombstone stuck from the wall, and they're like, we're not even going to put debris to make that sharp angle go away. We're just going to fucking use Unreal Editor or whatever their editor is, drag a tombstone in and say, jump your horse on and off of it. They're platforming pretty shit. Admittedly, their platforming is pretty shit, and they have a lot of platforming in that game. They have a lot of jumping in that game, whether you're on the horse or whether, you decide to jump over somebody's attack, which does work on some enemies. But I think what happens is you just get this moment where Dark Souls fans like get the step that would have been a little bit harder. I think Dark Souls 4 would have been harder to sell if they didn't really adjust it like they did with Bloodborne or Sekiro. You can't always have a new mythology. You can't always, okay, now we're Vikings. Well, there's already a Viking game. It's like, even though it's Valhalla, I'm just saying there's always these worlds. It's one of the reasons why you hear people say Ghost of Tsushima made it so Assassin's Creed Japan might be harder to make, which is, it's not totally accurate, but it's a good thought process. And I think this allows them to still go fantasy, still go dark fantasy, but that open world allows for them to surprise From fans, man. And I'm not a huge From fan. I would say I like Dark Souls 3, Sekiro. Those are probably my favorites.
Yeah, me too. I'm not huge on fun
Yeah,
games
you're not either. I always forget
no.
that you're not. Yeah, so
No, I mean Neo 2 was my favorite.
yeah, mine too.
Souls-like,
Yeah,
right?
Neo's too. Yeah, dude. Yeah, probably because you know, Japanese as well or Asian inspired, which I like their mythologies. But yeah, dude. I mean,
I like though how I don't know, it's dark fantasy, but you see a lot of high light fantasy contrasted with the dark fantasy, especially like obviously with the tree. But I really like that contrast. Like
so do I.
You'd see like a nice, beautiful yellow tree and just darkness and rot and shit.
And I was telling you, at nighttime, sometimes they'll drop gold leaves, and then that means your runes will be higher if you kill enemies. Little things like that make it like it's almost worth going to the open world.
I didn't know that, by the way.
Oh,
that's interesting.
That wasn't a spoiler, I hope. That's
no, that's a good tip.
Yeah, it just happens in the world.
Yeah, the game is also like, so I was in an engagement party last week because my cousin got engaged, and I was just, my whole brain was just Elden Ring, right? So I found someone that plays Elden Ring there in the engagement party, and just talking with them and being like, oh my god, did you do this? Did you do that? It reminds me of back in high school or even like middle school where you'd learn something from your friends where they'd be like, have you tried pressing triangle and circle and shit? And it's, you know, it's just bringing me, because there's a lot to do, and there's no like map markers and stuff, so a lot of people would be talking to each other, and you know, you don't know what is a spoiler, what isn't, but like that sense of, you know, just talking to someone, finding out something cool, going back home and trying it is just, I don't know, I miss that stuff.
All right, so Dutch and Reg, we'll first go with Dutch. Has this caused you to want it, or is it still?
I've had severe FOMO over it anyway. The other day I played. I've got Dark Souls 2. I've got Bloodborne. I've got Sekiro. Of course, very different games, all three of them.
Sure.
I played Dark Souls 2 on stream the other day, and after the initial frustrations of not knowing where to go and what to do, etc., then I got used to the combat a bit. And I got used to kind of where I needed to go. That was one of the main things in Dark Souls. It doesn't really ever tell you where you're going or what you're meant to be doing.
Right.
But once I got used to combat, I did like it. And then I understood that whenever I died, it was most definitely my fault. Like I knew I was either rushing into something or not doing something right, or not rolling, not blocking. It was my issue. The one thing about Elden Ring now that I think is going to probably make it better for me is the fact that it's more open. The combat for me will be a lot better with it being more open. A lot of the kind of more enclosed dungeons I tend to find with the likes of Dark Souls 2 that I was playing, you end up hitting the scenery more than you hit the enemy half the time.
Oh god,
you're clinking off rocks and you're clinking off the walls,
and they're at the same time they're punching through walls, and you're like, seriously, guys. Sorry, continue.
But yeah, so I think Elden Ring is probably going to be the one where I will spend a lot of time in it specifically for that, because I don't think the combat itself is going to be too hard. I think it's just the world, the enclosed world nature that you've got when you're trying to do a hack and slash in a tight-knit dungeon, I think makes it harder than it should be. I think an open world setting where you're able to dodge and roll correctly and be a little bit more maneuverable will make it a lot more enjoyable for me to play. So I'm looking forward to it more so than any other Souls game that I've seen.
And Reg has a couple hours in, but Lost Ark grabbed him back. Do you get FOMO on this? I mean, do you on Elden Ring while you're playing, not while you're playing Lost Ark, but let's say you're not playing anything. Have you started to look at Elden Ring and go, I should probably jump back into that?
No, Horizon for sure would be one.
Right, which we will talk about in a second. Yeah, okay, gotcha. So Horizon will call you back faster than Elden Ring.
Yeah, like if there is any game that has a chance, then that would be it.
Gotcha.
If there is.
I'm gonna read these super chats. I got them written down. Zach, $50 super chat. Thank you very much. Name band again, $50. Rip Shane Warne. Shane Warne. Shane Warne.
He's an Australian cricketer. That was an Australian dollar.
Oh, that sucks. ZA, $50. Didn't know I need to put donation. Sorry. Sorry. Boxer fight. You don't. If you guys did a donation, don't donate again. Simply, just say so in the chat and we'll catch it. Let's see. Boxer, $5. Thunder, if there's one thing worse than console wars, it's actual war. That's true. $10 donation. Kevin, 711, $20 super chat. Listen to this. Super chat towards donation, but Johnny is the best. Johnny's got a lot of love here. Johnny's got a little bit of a special love going on. I don't know what's happening
here.
I don't trade favors.
I'm starting to get a little nervous that there's some should I have a red light up whenever Johnny's talking? Let's see. What do we got? Gem 2137 super chat. Here's one for the Snake Island legends and the legends of this podcast. Wizard of Smoke $5. Thank you for being my background noise to all this prep work for the upcoming company merger. Lost Ark and the Discord have been a great escape. And another one, Mr. K, $5 super chat. How tall are you, Karak? I can't tell if you've got a tall Bunyan type build or a short but stocky mystical dwarf miner type build. Stay sexy, homies. Thank you very much. I'm 6'1", so I've got a medium build, I guess, technically. 6 foot isn't considered tall anymore.
No, it is. Yeah,
is it?
Tall. Yeah.
Joe Parkinson, $10 donation. Let me tell you, though, about being 6'1" for a second. I was 6'1" in 5th grade. Got scoliosis really bad because that's bad for your back as a kid. Never grew another inch. So I'm like, fuck you, little people. And then all of a sudden, everybody else is like,
caught up.
And I'm like, uh-oh, what's happening here? What's happening here? What's happening here? And all these little Oompa Loompas from Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory turned into people who were all taller than me. Which is why I was saying
to me too,
dude, and kids in school now, man, because my mom worked in middle school for years after I graduated, and we have a couple friends who were teachers in high school. Milk. I mean, I don't know if that's what it is or what. Maybe my milk, because we drank skim milk. I should have drank whole, but these kids are huge.
Gotta drink your milk.
Huge, man.
No, I know.
Huge, with a missing H.
I got to 6'1" in like 10th grade or something, and I stopped growing. But I had friends who were like 5'7" or something, and all of a sudden in college they'd be like 6'4", and I'm like, "What the fuck, dude? I was taller than you."
Nuts.
My little brother is taller than me now too.
It's nuts.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's like it's. I mean, I do think that food, health, nutrition if you have it to build, because let's say you don't eat, we know about that. If you don't eat, you won't gain muscle. Like a lot of dieters will fail in that. So maybe that's another thing. Maybe we weren't eating well enough because we didn't like sometimes.
Bro, I was munching down on that KFC, dude. I was.
I'm surprised.
I was a big chub.
Yeah. And so it's like we were always out working in summers and stuff like that. But we didn't eat the best sometimes because we weren't like, my mom tried to do as well as she could, but a lot of, but sometimes we didn't have a lot of food. But dude, some of these kids, man, and did you guys read this? China's breast size in the last 40 years grew like 3 cups.
What?
Yeah,
No,
there was
I
a
did not
study
read
on
that
it,
study.
which, by the way, I wasn't asked to do the study, and I'm a little disappointed in whoever ran that study that they didn't call me up. But
think immediately of you, like,
yeah. There's multiple studies that show growth of, and kids are taller, they are bigger, and I've wondered if it is just nutrition or what exactly it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of. So on Reddit I follow fight porn.
Moving
and
to
stuff
China,
like
Jamzaki says. Okay, sorry, go ahead, continue.
I follow like fight porn, and like they show a lot of fights and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
On Reddit, like just like street fights and stuff. And there's a lot of high school ones. And I'm like, dude, this guy looks 30. Like this guy is like 30 in high school. Like people, they've grown a lot.
Yeah,
since,
there's, and then you hear like sexy time. You hear a lot of teachers sleeping with their students and stuff. And I'm like,
geez, yeah.
When I was young and thought about that, and I look at the pictures, because I still have a yearbook. I'm sorry, we're kids. When I look at my yearbook, I'm like, those are all kids, easily identifiable as children. Those are all children. They look 13, 15, 17. But then one of my nephews has a fucking yearbook from just a couple years ago. Those kids don't look the same.
No, yeah.
There's something in the water.
Like, I always wondered
the fluoride in the water. It's closing your third eye.
Your chakra. What were you gonna say, Johnny?
Because I grew up watching Smallville, the show with Tom Welling.
Yeah,
the guy that he's buff, right? He's a big dude. And he's supposed to be this like teenager in school.
Right.
And I'm watching that as a kid. I'm like, wait, is that how we're supposed to look at this age? I was fairly,
they're in good shape
I was
now.
Tall, but I was lanky.
Dude, all the kids in shape in my school, I was in shape and out of shape every other year, like very fluctuating. But one of my best friends was our quarterback, and he was in great shape, never ripped though. It just didn't even look ripped, And we watched a football game here in town recently, high school football game. Well, not recently, prior to COVID, about 3-4 years ago. Jacked. Now, I don't know if they're getting, stuff off of GNC, because when I grew up, we didn't really have a GNC that would have illegal shit in it, which we know GNCs do now. But yeah, it's just interesting. That's one of the things I wanted to bring up also. When you guys are playing Elden Ring, so I heard a lot of people talk about the character
Nice
creator
transition.
So the character creator in Elden Ring, I felt was pretty good.
Yes.
And I don't know if you guys know, they hid. Did you guys know that there's a face warp hidden in there? That you can actually screw up people's faces even worse than the actual, like...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I saw an article. I haven't read it fully, but they said it's hidden in there. So I made my guy. I made him tall, lanky. My dude changed to a chick. Did that happen to anybody else? Because I saw that this was a
No.
bug. So listen to this. So I make my guy, big buff guy, make him run around, take off his armor, and it's a chick body with the head of a dude. So that didn't happen to anybody else? Because I saw people in my review,
Hey
post
man,
saying that.
it's 2022. Let people do what they want.
No, it's fine. It's just I didn't want to do that, so I was a little surprised when they randomly did that for me. Hey, whatever. Michael, $5 super chat. What are your thoughts on Microsoft discontinuing service and sales in RU? Is that Russia? Yeah,
Yeah,
of course that's
probably.
Russia.
Yeah.
Hey, they can do what they want. I mean, they don't sell. What was that one nation where the poor guy was telling us in Discord? They don't sell there, and like haven't ever.
Yeah.
Remember, he was in there going like, dude, they don't even sell here, and there was no war or anything going on.
Most of its business services stuff they've cancelled off. So the no new is US sales, which is a big one. Microsoft Office or any kind of Office protection, any kind of security stuff. Nothing. Essentially, it's all business orientated at this stage. No new sales. They haven't said that they're not going to continue or not
Supporting what's
continue.
there.
Yeah, which is.
I mean, I get it.
It's essentially mandated at this point from big companies. They're essentially required now.
Yeah.
To do so. So.
Yeah. It also sucks because I would never want a person who's just working their work, man, getting dinged. And it happens to every nation. There's something that happens. Some trade embargo, we find it in like the cost of something we buy. Somebody else finds it in the inability to buy something. And that always sucks because it's like that person that you're hitting, most likely, not the person you need to be hitting. Like that person's at home trying to spell check their brand new fucking Lord of the Rings book they've been working on. And you're like, Office, you can't use it. And they're like, fuck. I mean, that to me seems, but that's the way the world is. Businesses are so entwined with everything that goes on with treatment of people and stuff like that, that it's just
I
a
mean,
thing now.
before this podcast started, I saw, for example, that Nintendo can also no longer process any payments in Russia now because, well, everything's blocked.
Yeah.
They've stopped
processing,
Google payments,
etc.
stopped Apple
Everything's
Pay.
blocked.
Yeah. John Allen, 179 super chat. Love the podcast and your donation plans. Thank you very much, John. All right. So let's talk about something. I want to know if this bothers you guys because I was in a bad mood. So I collected this and I'm still in a bad mood. I still hate this idea. And I think that I want to talk about it, which is mom articles. I call them mom articles, but I'm starting to see PC Gamer wrote one that I was just like, the fuck are you talking about? And they're like, you are not allowed or stop comparing this game to this game. And I was sitting there going like,
that kind.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was sitting there going, yeah, not mom, like, hey, your mom's hot.
Yeah, I was
Which
confused.
would be a unique podcast article or a unique article. But they were like, you can't compare this and this. And I'm still hedging on one part, which is that every day we celebrate new gamers coming in because people do have sex. So you have new kids who come in and you tell them a game's good, like Breath of the Wild. So what do they play first? Breath of the Wild. And then they play Zelda. And now you have websites who are like, stop doing that. Stop comparing the two. And I'm like, by the way, this article said stop doing it. Guess what the entire article was from start to finish? Comparing the two. It's fucking ludicrous. You can compare to show things that aren't similar.
Differences, yeah.
But there's this weird control shit that's coming out. And I looked it up on SEO, and I think it's probably just a popular thing to do, which is like, don't do this, Buffy. But at what point are we like, dude, I mean, I don't know where the history of this person is. That's why we always ask, what games have you played? Because without knowing, what the fuck? Like, it makes no... If you haven't played Breath of the Wild, and I sit down with you, and I'm like, have you played Breath of the Wild? No. Have you played this? Have you played this? They finally, you know, say there's a game we've both played, Dragon's Dogma. It's like, okay, so now we can compare things. I fucking don't get it, man. There's this... I don't know what it is, man. Like, I'm not a... I mean, I believe in free speech, but I don't even want to say this is a free speech thing, but it's a weird thought process where these fucking hoity-toity pinky-up people are like, you can't do this anymore. And it's like, you can't talk to us anymore. Just fucking leave the discussion. Like, don't write your little fucking article to get your clicks. Just, you do you. Why are you so bent out of shape that these... I saw people comparing Horizon and Elden Ring. And somebody jumped in and was like, how dare you? They're not anything alike. And I'm like, bullshit. I can give you 1,000 ways they're alike right now. Depends on how discreet we want to go. But you can certainly compare them. And I can also tell you 10,000 things that are not alike about them. That's a comparison.
People also have to realize that no one has infinite money, right? And there's a lot of games that came out in February.
Right.
And in order to make a decision, it's inevitable that you have to compare two things and decide on what you want to get.
Yeah.
It's like you want this open world game, you want this linear game. It's like you can point out differences like that. And, you know, I think there's a difference between comparing games and going like, okay, this one's just better, this one's just better. It could be better for you, it could be better for me because of their differences. But
context.
I don't know the point of just restricting comparisons completely or even making the article. I don't know.
Well, dude, it goes to this trend, Abzi. It's like a meta thing. It's like, it's no longer just a review. It's a review of a review, right? So they're now telling you, you did your review wrong because you didn't start by saying that, you know, Ubisoft did stuff to their employees. Like, that's how you should have started your review.
It's a really good point.
Remember? There was that whole thing. And they called out people like who didn't bring up that in their review as if that's relevant.
Or people trying to tell me I should have stated that Aliens was only made by a couple people. And I'm like, first of all, we don't know that. Second of all, The Ascent, that was the bullshit The Ascent was peddling for a while. They weren't, by the way. The developers never peddled that shit. But you had people who were like, come on, let's get behind the small developer. There's only 10 people. And we looked, guess what? In an article, they say that they had hundreds of people helping them that were located elsewhere, that were remote. And what happened just in the last 2 podcasts where developers came on and we asked them, did you do remote stuff? Yes, of course we have people working everywhere. That's okay. And it's okay to say it's bad if one person makes it. But this weird ass social shit that's starting to come up everywhere where it's like, you can't do this. It's like, yeah, I can. And now I'm going to do it twice just to piss you off. Because
I think it's crazy. I think in the gaming community, it's the most like I see the most of it. Yeah. In the gaming community where people, they have their opinions, but they force it upon everyone. They're like, fucking, you're not supposed to fucking do this. You know, you're just like, look at it, dude, this is how you're supposed to, you know, think about this game or do that. And it's crazy because I don't see that in other industries as much at all. Right.
No, it's weird.
I think maybe it's the time investment, the money investment, you know, just you know, being in a game world for like 100 hours, you might.
Then here's the thing. Then fuck that person. Because if that person tries to tell you that it's that investment, like you just said, which I agree with, then you can't tell me that the price that they paid and them having to buy it didn't make an effect, which then means if you're reviewing a game and you don't buy it, it would make an effect versus if you do buy the game, because that's also about money.
Yeah, of course.
And these people go in with one fucking thought process and you tell them the other and they're like, not connected at all. Nah. And you just, it's
it's definitely that. I know, like even with me, if I didn't pay for a game, I don't have that much so you know how many Game Pass games I just started process. It's very different, extremely different. It's even I can be biased just for not buying a game versus buying a game easily, you know. So
Dutch, real. Do you run into this? I know you guys do the podcast and you always have multiple people coming on and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Do you notice this as much? Because I know you guys are predominantly Xbox.
Yeah, we've just got a PlayStation guy on now who's
awesome, very
big. So that's decent. But no, we run into it all the time. And the only thing, it's really strange. But obviously, I keep an eye on on Twitter in general to see all the bad takes that we see on there on a daily basis. But the only time I would say you can't compare a game is if you're intentionally out of context. And it is about context. Out of context, saying, for instance, comparing Forza Horizon to Breath of the Wild, you'd be like, well, they can't compare them. Like, they are entirely different genres of games, like not even in the same field at all. Or trying to say
Even then,
Rayman
I would
versus
probably find things to
MLB,
compare.
or Rayman versus MLB or something. You just can't compare them. They're not comparable games. But when you're comparing the likes of Zelda versus an Elden Ring, they're both technically an action adventure open world game. They have comparisons that can be made towards each other. It is a thing. It can happen. And again, when people, and you see this even with GT now on Twitter, when people are saying you can't compare GT7 to Forza Horizon. Well, you can't in the sim aspect, but you can in the racing aspect and the world building,
camera,
and
graphics, sound,
and and everything, the details that go into it. And if you haven't looked at the details that went into one game, but then a game that's much more of a linear experience is far less detailed than the other game, then there is a comparison that can be made. You can say, well, this one's running better, it's performing better, it's the same genre. Granted, this one's a sim racer, but this one's doing this, X, Y, and Z. Then comparisons can be made. Why didn't it do this? Why didn't it do that from a technical aspect? You can't compare them. And you can't tell somebody that they can't compare something. It's such a strange mindset.
It's
Again,
weird.
like you mentioned, like a meta thing, like reviewing reviewers' reviews.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, can't you just go super broad and say, let's say I want to compare Sifu with Elden Ring, and I say, okay, well, Elden Ring is an open world game, Sifu isn't. Isn't that still technically
that is a comparison.
Yeah, of course.
You can compare
taking these two games.
You can compare the camera. You can compare
What
the
makes a comparison useful is the framing, right? And usually you're focusing on one aspect or one, frame, and that works. It's like an analogy. The analogy doesn't have to be perfect or contain all the information. It just has to represent what you're trying to convey. And so,
Exactly. It depends on the context of the conversation you're having within the context of the review. If you're mentioning Breath of the Wild, it might not necessarily, for instance, mean I am comparing this directly to Breath of the Wild in every sense. I'm just, for instance, the open world reminds me of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Or the weapon breaking.
It's just a generic thing. It's not like, I'm going to speak about, it's also got the audio and also the weapons and also these mechanics and also, it's not that. It's just, you might mention it briefly in a small section. And if people are saying you can't do, of course you can do that. It's such a strange thing to be looking at.
Yep.
I think when it gets annoying is when people are constantly, for example, let's say you're streaming Lost Ark and someone's constantly being like, oh, well, WoW is better. Oh, well, FF is better because of this and this over and over again. I think that's when it becomes a kind of an annoyance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm just annoyed all the time. Who knows? But I mean, I probably am. But to me, this kind of
secret
stuff,
superpower, always annoyed.
Just that's it. Just frustrated at all times. That's all. That's all I've got. Well, Reg is doing Lost Ark, and we talk about. I mean, because we're always chatting in when he's reviewing it about like, okay, so this is free, but this costs money, but this is like Diablo. It's not like Diablo. And one of the things I noticed in our Discord, and this isn't a pimp for the Discord. In fact, I don't want anybody joining because I like the people there, and I don't want new people. When we go in and we talk, it's talking. And the ability to talk is gone most other places. So when we go into the Discord and I see somebody say, matter of fact, I just saw it last night. Somebody was like, I hate this and this. And I will tease them and be like, I hate clapping. Down with clapping. No more happiness, blah, blah, blah. But overall, everybody is still like, well, what do you dislike? What do you like? Okay, well, here's what I found. Did you like this game? And there's broad stroke thoughts that then define the context of the overall discussion, and I think ends up everybody comes out of it a little bit ahead. And whatever is happening now is there is no, like, nobody wants to be ahead. They're just like fucking firmly planted in place. I've had people be like, no one else had issues with Elden Ring. And I'm like, what? Literally, what? What are you talking about? Like not everybody, but multiple people did, but not everybody will. That's how bugs work.
That's how bugs work.
That's how optimization works. That's how different consoles work. And
that's exactly how I have to speak about my experience with Cyberpunk every time.
I know.
Because I was one of the extremely, extremely fortunate people at launch that had zero major problems. I had like the generic open world GTA bug where the cars are like half in the floor, and that was about it. Like that was as bad as it got for me. So I could never compare to anybody else's experience, because I managed to get a full playthrough without anything wrong.
We call it the magic PC in here. Like, we'll be like, dude, you had a magic PC experience, which has happened to me. So I feel firmly okay with teasing others when it happens, because I know what it's like to be, and I'll tease people for like in Cyberpunk for years. I will. Like, I'll be like, dude, that thing was shit. But there is somebody who's like, what? Really? Because I didn't, you know.
I mean, that happened with you, Dying Light 2. You didn't get nearly as many bugs as others, but you did your due diligence in your review, and you said, well, others are getting bugs.
Yeah, if I hear somebody say other people are getting bugs, I'll, you know, as long as it's okay with them, because I always check, I'll be like, well, other people are experiencing this. But like, all of us, I think, here played Kingdom Come Deliverance. And so Kingdom Come Deliverance is a game where it had some bugs. I showed it in my video, it had some step-up bugs. It had all kinds of, you know, various different little issues. Nothing absolutely terrible for me. But then Silver goes into that village, nobody has a head. Their heads are gone. And I'm like, that's haunting. Like, that if I saw that and I was playing, I would have thought it was real. Like, as in, it was magic in this world, or so. I would have been like, oh, this village must have a magic thing where everybody's lost their heads or whatever. He had horrendous issues, but then he's played a game and been like, I had no issues. And, you know, most of us did. It does happen. I think Cyberpunk is just the one where we get mixed up between the bugs, the expectations, the promises, the false beta, the fake beta, and the review process. And we rarely get that with other games. That game, it just was the perfect storm of shit, and you almost couldn't get out of it without an issue. So let's say Dutch is saying, hey, I didn't have any issues bug-wise, but he still would have known that there were complaints about the review process. Do you see what I'm saying? So I think that's rare. I can't remember another game that's had
it was weird because
that many issues.
I had extreme rose-tinted glasses, I guess, before it came out, where there were so many of these signs of where you can't show gameplay, you can't show this, you can't show that, stuff in the company, you know, there are issues. And I was just like, yeah, it's okay. You know, I'm smoking that copium, right? Just copying hard. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think anyone, I mean, I see a lot of people on Twitter being like, okay, well, I didn't get bugs. Console noob, you know, move to PC or whatever. And it's just weird to me, because everyone knows, it's like, come on, you know, you got to be real with yourself that there are other people experiencing these things. And
I think it's just one of the few games with so many issues everywhere.
The one thing about Cyberpunk as well, I tend to find specifically for that one, is that you've got so many varying thoughts on the game from different people, because of the different levels of investment they had into the hype surrounding the game and how much attention they paid to the build-up. So if people that followed that game from day dot, and it was announced years ago, way back, like was it not 2012 or something, or 15? It was
Ages.
A long time.
Yeah.
But people that have followed it since then and followed it intensely since then, those are the people that are really invested in, right, okay, well, you promised X, Y, Z, this, that, the other, and none of that stuff come off. And I can appreciate their thoughts, because they're the ones that have invested their time and they've got so much hype behind the game.
Right.
Why they're so pissed off. You've got the other middle ground people who are kind of seen the announcement on the Xbox showcase and blah, 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 blah. And they've got a little bit of hype, but they're just seeing what they were showing on stage. So they know kind of that as an expectation. Maybe it's not so much the background or follow the studio to know what you're going to get in the game. And then that they feel a little bit let down, because then it comes out and the performance is trash and doesn't work on most consoles. The last gen stuff is unplayable completely. PC has its issues depending on what cards you've got. It's all over the place. And then you've got the other middle ground guys who are just like, that looks cool. I'll just get it at some point.
Yeah.
And then they pick it up and they play it, and it seems to be all right, and it works, and they have fun. And they're the guys that are just kind of chilled and just go, yeah, but I enjoyed it. And then the other guys were like, yeah, but it was it was broken, and they didn't do this, and this, and then the infighting starts because there was so many.
It's a hard game to discuss.
Level, yeah,
it's a hard game to discuss. Super chats, real quick. I'm just reading here, making sure I get them all. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So, Johnny is the best. I read. Okay, there we go. $10 Joe Parkinson. I think I read that. $179 from John Swamp Walker. $10 donation. Some things just can't be ignored. Very cool of you guys to raise awareness for Ukraine. A podcast known for impeccable class. That's us. Class. That's always. I mean, really, that is what the podcast.
Impeccable. Truly
impeccable. Lori, and by the way, thank you very much, Lori. $20 super chat. It's a small donation, but here's my contribution. Came for the content, stayed for the attitude. Cheers, Karak and crew. N. John Neer, $10. Just saw the Batman. Best Batman. I'm hearing that a lot. I'm hearing that from everybody. Devin James, $5 chat. Thank you for everything you guys do. I'm starting a gaming channel myself. Are there any tips for gaming channels starting out? Start it. Santos, $20 super chat. Zach, just wanted to say, I don't know why he says Zach. Maybe I wrote it wrong. Oh, no, this is a different super chat. Okay. I was like, why does he call me Zach? Santos had his 20. Then Zach says, just wanted to say, love your videos and podcasts. Keep up the great work. Your podcast helps me on long drives. Johnny, you started your channel after I did, and Dutch is 2 years in. So do you guys have any real quick tips for newcomers to YouTube? It looks like YouTube.
It depends on if it's streaming or if it's podcasting, because they're both wildly different.
They are.
For streaming, get used to talking to yourself for a very long time, because that's essentially what you have to do. You have to get used to pretending that people are in chat when no one's in chat. Have conversations with yourself, talk about the game, talk about what you're seeing, what you're doing, what you don't like, what you just explain the game, essentially narrate what you're doing, but not quite like David Attenborough level.
The penguins are being slaughtered today by the you're like, wow.
On a podcast note, there's a lot more goes into it than meets the eye. Whether that be trying to arrange guests to come on and the logistics behind that, whether that be the time scales and an exact time that everyone has to meet up for every week is never necessarily always set in stone. Yeah. Sometimes things happen, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you might lose all of your panel members for various personal reasons, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you're just going to have to delay. Don't feel sorry about it. It happens. Then you've got again, depending on how much detail you want to put into it. If you want to do like Iron Lord's scale, then there's so much more stuff that goes into it in terms of overlays and fancy graphics and mad intros and everything like that. Or you could just go nice and simplistic, keep it nice and short and sweet, and just concentrate on the content. But at the end of the day, be yourself. If you're going to be doing podcasting, be yourself. Don't try to be a personality. Just be whoever you are, because people come for more just the realistic people than the people that are putting on this fake persona.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep it real and have fun. That's the best way to do it. The moment you stop having fun, it's not worth it.
That's for sure true. What about you, Johnny? You got any?
I would add to that, just for especially YouTube, you need to ask yourself, who are you shooting for in terms of demographic? What is the quote unquote problem you're trying to solve? And maybe that's just entertainment, right? It's what you're doing. But in which case, ask yourself specifically, what kind of person do I want to click my videos? And then, try to find an overlap between what you're passionate about and what you can do, what you're good at, right? And what people are actually looking for. And then, that sweet spot is where channels can work, I think, because right now it's just so saturated in the gaming space for people that if you're just doing gameplay with some talking over it, if you don't really have something you're trying to latch onto in terms of format or something specific, I think it will be very difficult.
Yeah, those are all good. Mine would also be prepare to jump into something that there is probably far more you don't know than you will ever know. Even like Skilled Media, he came on the podcast a bunch of times. He's gone to college. He's thinking about coming back. Last time I talked to him, he had a big audio production, video production background, But that doesn't always necessarily 100% go with YouTube and what you want to do and your personality, blah, blah, blah. And what I've found is I'm still trying to figure out thumbnails. Go listen to Mr. Beast, that one dude who just gives away all the money and stuff. He always talks about that. He's like, you're still testing thumbnails, always, because shit changes. I just now started doing overlays for the audio where I was like, I'm testing right and left fade off. I did that for Shadow Warrior, where I was like telling people what I was testing in audio so they could put their headphones on if they wanted and go, oh, okay, now when Karak's talking about fade off front rear transition in audio, I fucking actually know what he's talking about, instead of just going, man, he sounded like he knew. Those kind of things. Dude, I've been doing it for 7 years and I'm still going, what font should I use?
Yeah,
it will
dude.
happen forever.
Oh
So, some jobs you get comfortable with. I personally would say if you're comfortable, unless you're the rare unicorn, you'll notice you won't grow as quick. You'll be like, no, this is not, this is not working out as well. Things, because there's an uncomfort level. People always expect the basic you, but they want more all the time. And YouTube presentation has gone so far above what I ever expected, where people have got, I mean, I'm not even talking overlays. I'm talking about $2,000 cameras and all this shit. And then somebody has no camera, like that one guy on Twitch where he was a good shot. He had no camera for like 5 years and had 1 million. You know why? Because he was good at something and that was a unique thing. And segueing to unique things, I want to ask Reg something.
No, I just wanted to add.
Reg is going to add. Go ahead.
Yeah. I wanted to add, as a viewer, to the thumbnail thing, don't use a red border. I'm watching one channel in my subscription who uses a red border. And it's exactly the width that I never know if I've already watched the video.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Oh my God.
Do you know what else you could do, Reg? On your video, put a line that indicates you haven't watched it at the bottom.
Yeah.
I could put a line that looks green so people re-click it.
It's not just the red border, it's also the same color that the play bar has.
No shit.
So I don't know why.
That's so
the same exact hex code.
That's so intelligent. What were you gonna add, Abzy?
Okay, I see.
Dude, my mind's blown. I want to write this down. I never thought of that. I'm just gonna write. Go ahead. Continue.
Write it down. Write it down right now. Don't be blatant with your self-promo. I see people doing this a lot where they're just self-promoting everywhere.
Oh,
if you go spam places where go check out my YouTube channel, no one's gonna,
you'll get
even
banned.
if they look, exactly.
Yeah.
Also, this like networking thing and going and networking and going into communities with the mindset of you growing your channel is never gonna work. I think if you go and make friends and just be social and just like make friends for the sake of it and join communities and stuff, that will come in hand, I think, with growing your thing. But don't just go in with the mentality that, okay, I'm going to hit this community up. I'm going to hit this community up with the mentality that you're going to network and, make streamer friends and try to like grow your stream. I don't think that ever works. Or like for like, follow for follow, that stuff.
No, that stuff doesn't work. It doesn't generate, like you'll get subs that automatically unsubscribe like a month later. It doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Zach Binkley asks a really good question. First, part 4 did a $5 super chat. Keep up the great works. This show gets through my downtimes. You guys are amazing. Diving back into Elix 2. Much love from Washington State. Hey, I'm in Oregon. Zach, $2. What do you guys do for a living besides podcast? Well, we won't seat that forever because I want to return to it. But I do want to add one thing here, and then I want to go to ask Reg a question that just boggles my mind. I heard yesterday. So another thing about thumbnails and all that kind of stuff and working together. One of the ways I know who I want to talk to and deal with are people who reach out for no reason. Somebody will say happy birthday, fine. That's they noticed a happy birthday sign. That's good. But if I'm getting queried just on review code, at some point I'm like, all right, this person just wants to talk to me about review code. Or if I see somebody say, and I've had this from very big YouTubers, and they know who they are, they'll say, hey man, we should work together. And I'll be like, all right, whatever. And I'll DM them. And I got one response one time that was like, oh, I was just joking. And I was like, yeah, big YouTuber. And I was like, okay, I wasn't like, fuck you. I was just like, I get it.
Why? What is that?
How is that
That's
even?
just pretending like there's overlap. Just absolutely pretending like there was overlap and being like, hey, and I was like, okay.
Oh, just like one of those things where it's like, yeah, let's play it by ear, maybe we'll.
Yeah,
work
no,
together.
they were like, hey, we should work together. And I'm like, all right. And I reached out and they were like, oh no, just joking. I mean, we could maybe, but just joking. And then never responded to another
That's
tweet.
so weird.
Yeah, and they're pretty big. So that kind of stuff happens, and I would say organic, like with Dutch, I got into Iron Lords, which got me into Dutch, which got me into all the others, and I watch group DMs too. Who's investing in a group DM if everybody's in there? Who's saying, hey, good job? Who's randomly showing up just to say hi? Who's got content I like? That matters too. Like if I like their content, because if I don't, I might like them as a person, but I'll be like, oh, they're probably not a good fit for this podcast. Like if they're all negative all the time, I'm like, that's not going to work. People be like, dude, we already got some negativity here from me. We don't need to like double up on that shit. So yeah, just be organic. Reg.
Yes.
Dude, I don't know if I'm living in an alternate world. I saw a bunch of reviews for tablets, and these huge YouTubers are stating under no terms whatsoever, they're like, there is no one who uses a tablet as a tablet. They all use them docked. They never hold them. And I'm like, what the is this? What? And it wasn't one. It was like 6. So then I started asking on Telegram and Facebook and Twitter, and I'm like, am I the only person holding a tablet? 90% said they hold the tablet. 10% said they use it only docked. How do you use your tablets?
Both.
Okay.
I use both. I have a keyboard attachment. So with the keyboard attachment, I use it docked, like on the table, actually propped up. Or I take off the keyboard attachment and use my pen and use it in the hand and hold it.
I hold it as well, man.
I hold it. I hold it and then put it on one of them tablet stands if I'm watching something in bed.
I hold it and rub it. I hold it and use it.
Oh, rub it. Oh, okay. What? You mean with your finger.
Oh, my God.
I thought he was making a joke when you said rub it. I thought we were going to get to this, like, Pornhub interactivity.
I was like, okay, it's a small tablet in one hand. And...
Oh, my God.
I just use one hand. I don't double fist it. Yeah.
So here's the thing. Yeah, we're not, we all can't be John Holmes. Here's the thing about tablets for me. I even held the 27-inch one I showed these guys. It's not 27. It gets bigger every time I fucking explain it. But I can't remember. It's 24, I think, which is the same. That's a bit much. And even I joked and said, dude, this thing. But when I'm watching a show, I'll hold it. Maybe I'll put it on a thing, but I've got screens. So it's like I'll put it on a screen if I'm watching a show. Therefore, I can also use news and stuff. I'm just so blown away because there was no, like, some people. It was like everybody uses their tablet this way, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what the I'm sitting there going, dude, am I the person who'd show up at a party and I'm the people he's holding his tablet. Go ahead, Reg.
What an idiot.
The big tablet I have, it's too heavy for me really, with the case at least, to actually hold up. Yeah. So I've had it at least propped up somewhere. Or what I also do when I just don't want to get out of bed, I'm on the side with the tablet also on the side.
And resting on the bed, right? Resting on the bed. Yeah. Same. Dude, there's nothing more comfortable than in the womb position. Yeah. And you have your tablet.
Oh, resting tablet on the side?
The tablet on the side. The back kick flipped out.
So it holds itself.
Stable.
Dude,
perfect.
That's kind of genius.
When you turn off the
rotating. Yeah, the rotate. Yeah. And you just sit there and you can rest it. Sometimes I'll just rest my hand on it and I'll just be like watching a show. Same. It's so people don't realize they're losing so much comfort if they're I am going to watch a movie. It's like, fuck you, robot. Not me. I'm on the bed. I got the bed up. I got my adjustable I got a little massage bed. I put a little pillow there, and I'll just be like, oh, man, it's so... And I have a tablet with really good audio. Like, that was one of the reasons why I got this particular one. And so movies are actually phenomenally good sounding on this tablet.
It's HDR display. It has a good sound system.
Yep.
OLED.
I was just... Yeah. I was just shocked when I saw it. I was like, that's so interesting because... I don't know anyone. I know many have a stand, but I don't know anybody who uses that only, or I would say mostly. But I did ask, and I got about 90% saying they hold it. And I was laughing going, well, there you go. It reminds me of when I was bitching about microtransactions in NBA. I only heard from 10% of the people who hate it. The other 90% bought microtransactions. Like that goes to show you your audience. Who are you talking? The audiences I got, or the audiences that person was talking to, was not Workman Karak, who's like, I don't have time to put that fucking thing. Like I'll be washing dishes. My tablet will be sitting there. I'll be reading, and I'm holding it. I'll be like, I'm using it in all different ways.
Right.
That's what a tablet's. To me,
that's
what it's
also
fucking
like
for.
Propped up as a third screen next to my other
yeah.
two screens on the PC and everything.
That is weird to me. I didn't even. This is very new to me that people just dock their tablets. I don't.
And
really
I'm not
hear
going to
about
pass
that.
myself off as an expert of tablets, even though I study them. I wouldn't probably do. I might do a review on one maybe if it was amazing. But so these person, they know their, that's what they do. But I was just like, obviously their demographic doesn't meet like anybody.
They're sitting down in yoga mats in their minimalist homes.
Oh my god!
And like,
with their sand garden in front of them.
How you put the picture down?
Anyway, long story short, it was a unique conversation, and it does
Dude,
show.
I gotta say though,
different groups do
that was revelatory to me because I never thought of putting the tablet on the side.
There you go. We're welcome.
What I do,
good.
right? I'll be on the side myself, but then the tablet is horizontal.
Oh
so
no! What are you
if
doing?
I have subtitles,
Yeah,
Just
you're
turn
right.
off
like-
the auto rotate and go.
dude, my brain is like trying to parse the
Okay,
subtitles.
let me
being
blow
like
your
this.
mind. No one does this, I bet, but me. When I get really uncomfortable because I do stay up late and I'll lay down and watch a show, I have put the tablet on the floor and hung my head over the bed and watched a movie multiple times.
I've also done
Okay,
that.
see,
So,
there you go.
There you go.
Here we go.
I've done that because
Wow.
I sleep on my stomach a lot.
Yeah,
so
I like to sleep on my
What the
stomach and it's
fuck?
comfortable. Yeah.
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 Ian says, yo, where's the timestamps? Yo, we're live. What the fuck are you talking about? I can't do timestamps.
Yo, timestamps. Yo, timestamps.
Somebody
Yo, you
else
got
can
that
do
timestamp?
timestamps. I had that pop up another time where we were live and
All
somebody's
the
like,
time.
where's the timestamps? I'm like, dude, we're live. Like, I don't know anybody. Maybe somebody out there does timestamps live. They're better
Live
than me.
and pretty much unplanned. That's,
Yeah.
Otherwise, you could probably do timestamps.
Yeah. Screenbot says, yo, bro, somebody said that in another video and I tried it. Roll looks like it's on the button release. Oh, so he's saying when he turned his thing, there must be a button on the side of his tablet. That is correct. My buttons are on the top, so I can pretty much always, figure out a way to. But
well, my buttons are around one corner, but I mean, you can just 180. It's a
Yeah,
on the other
exactly.
side.
yeah. Karak, why didn't you mention that GT7 is always online in your review? I was offline for like 4 hours, so it's not always online. It restricts races. It had whenever you see in my video where cars along the bottom, that's when it was offline, and I'm still able to choose cars and stuff. So it wasn't fully offline. Is it fully? Does it nuke you now 100%?
Is it like a Hitman thing?
No,
I think it's a Hitman thing. I think you can still do some stuff because I was able to when I was offline. So.
Right. What I heard is that it actively, like many times, tells you like, "Hey, you should be online to get all the stuff," and it kind of
That's
gets
so
in your way a lot
annoying.
if
That
it's
sucks.
offline. But I believe you can still play it. That was my understanding from what I picked up.
I was able to play it offline for sure because there was no wireless or LAN connection, but it does restrict. Interesting. Goddamn, thanks. And I should have put this in the review. I should have put that in the review. That's a good point. I mean, I didn't really notice as an issue. It has more unlockable when it was off than when it was on, which I've never seen before.
Oh.
Yeah. So there are more cars available offline, almost like it was a package of cars, if that makes sense. Like, here's a package of cars and more tracks. So I was able to do even more testing at that time. Adventure Stuff, $10. Thanks for doing this. What games for the last few years do you guys think will go down as GOATs? We're going to get to that. We'll get to GOATs. But I want to answer this guy's question. He said, what do you guys do besides YouTube and this podcast? So go ahead. We'll start with Reg. What do you do outside of this?
Professionally web developer. That's my job. Front end, back end, everything basically.
Wink, wink.
And work from home currently is still 100% of the time. which is
100%.
perfect.
You going? Do you know if your company's gonna?
I know my
changing-
boss is like a big, everyone should at least see each other from time to time or every week. So we will for sure get back together again sooner or later.
Gotcha.
And I hope as little as possible.
Gotcha. All right. Andy says GT is basically always online service game, but people right above you are saying that they're playing it offline, so it's not. Yeah. See, that's one of the issues. Is some people, if it requires you to be online for anything, they'll say it's always online. I don't know. All I can say is I played a ton offline. Abzi, what do you do outside of podcasting?
Kind of like Reg. Well, professionally, I'm a software engineer, but right now I'm a full stack web developer, and I'm trying to break into sound and music and video games. Hopefully someday.
Excellent. What about you, Johnny?
Software engineer as well. Back end only in my case. No front end for me, thanks. None of that JavaScript stuff. Yeah. Currently,
JavaScript's awesome. Sorry.
yeah, no, it's not. Have you ever? Okay, we're
Never
not
mind.
going into
I hate
that rabbit
CSS
hole.
is the shit one. Okay, I hate CSS, but everything else is awesome. But anyways,
Part 4, I did read your super chat, my friend, but maybe you were taking a piss. But part 4, I said, keep up the great work, dudes. This gets through my downtimes. You guys are amazing. Diving back into Elix 2. Love from Washington State. To which I said, I'm in Oregon.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
But I'll say it again. I'm in Oregon, and thank you very much for the super chat. Absolutely appreciate it. Dutch, what's your game outside?
Yes. To be, I've had many different careers. Right now, for the last decade, I've been a corporate energy broker. So I yeah.
Whoa.
That's right now. It's a difficult situation,
Yeah.
specifically with Gazprom.
Right.
But yeah, I've also done network engineering, and I've also been in the Marines. So different, far different.
wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I didn't assume you'd be a software engineer, but I never expected that. Dude, we're going to have you on the hobby podcast I do, where we just talk about our lives outside, what we can talk about. But those are always fun because you'll get like weird stories of things that you just really don't hear a lot about on a video.
Oh
game
yeah,
podcast.
there's a lot of weird stories.
Yeah, I would assume now. I mean, that's the thing is everybody's normal lives, like the more boring your job probably was, it's probably quite interesting right now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like this is the time when people who, what do? I'm a database engineer for multinational, financing, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, so what's happening now?
That was
Because-
someone, right? Recently.
Well, yeah.
Whatever.
I just don't remember, but that's, I think, why I brought it up. So we are going to jump to the very specific parts of this podcast for a moment where we cover updates. We cover the games that are free. We normally cover indie games, but Silver is not here. So let's start with Abzi. What are these, Abzi?
So not much happened this week in terms of updates, just a couple. One of them being GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition. Put out an update for bug fixes, performance fixes, texture updates, better collision on textures. I mean, I don't know. It was trash when it released. I don't know if it's better now. You can go check if you want. I don't know if
What
I
a
don't
great
think they're
sell. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think they're actually making any graphical improvements. I think they're just fixing stuff. They're just fixing stuff, right? Another one that came out this week, I talked a little bit about last week, is Risk of Rain 2 and DLC.
Yes.
Called something of the Void. What the fuck was it called?
Survivors.
Of the Void. Sorry. So I played that one. It's awesome. So it's only $10 USD right now. So it's $10 because it's on sale for some reason. It's normally $15, and it adds 2 new characters, one of which is a sniper and the other one is like a corrupted. It's like a very cool mechanic where you become corrupted and all your abilities change. All new maps, all new enemy types. There's a whole new mechanic called like corruption items, where whenever you pick up an item, it changes other items. So Johnny, Chungus, Big Chungus. So there's this item, Chungus. There's this item where it heals you only when you're standing still. So a lot of people tend to skip it because no one's standing still. But then you get this other item that changes all those items to healing you while you sprint. So now there's like a whole new set of, and there's like really weird, mechanic. There's new game modes. There's one where you just defend, like it's kind of like tower defense, or just you're defending an area, wave based. And there's another one which I didn't really play, and there's a whole new mechanics within the maps, like new map stuff, which is really cool,
Holy
and new
shit.
items. Yeah, all for $10, which is awesome. It was a really good DLC. And then third we have Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous, coming out with DLC called Inevitable Excess, which is not being it's not, people aren't liking it for some reason.
Oh, really? What are they?
Yeah.
What's being
I
said?
I see a lot of people complaining about just story wise, just
Oh.
they're saying that the worst parts of Pathfinder all in one DLC.
You want a bonus?
Some are
buddy?
saying choices aren't good. I think Reg might know more. You're more invested in that
I've
game.
looked at it a little bit, and the takeaway for me was the complaint is there's not a lot of story there. Most of the playtime is puzzles.
Yeah, puzzles. That's what I read as well. So that's unfortunate, because Wrath of the Righteous is a great game, which I definitely recommend. One of a really good CRPG for sure. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this week.
No, it's not it.
Wait, you said there's Vampire
Bloodlines.
I don't know how recent that
Unofficial
was.
patch 11, only a 2-decade-old game. One of the best, almost 2 decades. I could be wrong on that. Somebody can fix me in chat, but that game's been out for ever, and it's got unofficial patch 11. So imagine Skyrim with the unofficial patches. That's basically this group of dedicated motherfuckers, man. Like, I don't know where they are, if they're another hacking group on the side, but these guys are always updating this game. And it sort of died out for a while, and then this morning I read that, boom, unofficial
That's
patch
crazy
11.
to me.
Well, it's
That
a
is
good
really
game.
crazy to me.
It
is a good game.
Yeah, and they tried to really, how you get those games that are, Cyberpunk, but you get those games that are like, you have a lot of choice. And you're like, not really. That game was like, you got a lot of choice, and it's like, really.
Yeah, I mean, even starting the origin changes the game greatly. Like, you can be that like a little underground dweller.
Nosferatu, the best one.
Nosferatu,
That's who I was.
Yeah.
Couldn't talk to anybody because I look like a vampire. I'm like, hello, do you want a hug? And they're like, fuck, it's a monster. Yeah, dude, there was so many different
and I had
ways
really
to play
good
that.
writing from what I remember.
Yeah. Well, I believe, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was what's his name.
Chris Avallone.
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong on that. But I thought whatever it was, it felt like that from him. Like, it felt.
I don't know. He has a hand in like every choice-based narrative game. That's good. So
I heard somebody said, thanks very much for the data. Assume Karak is full-time YouTube. I'm full-time YouTube. I teach martial arts on the side, do painting, hobby stuff, but my full-time job is YouTube. And I want to say, for somebody who said you should quit YouTube because you suck, when I did the music montage for Horizon, I want to say that was actually funny as fuck. Because I admit I had no reason to do that video. I was like, I really like Horizon's world, man. And found some music for it. I'm like, I'm going to do a music montage. Just be like, hey, and you got one of those people who's like conceited. They like feel that they should control your channel. They want the exact content. And they were like,
the free content
they're like,
consuming.
how dare you? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually chuckled out loud. I was like, man, free content, didn't need to click it, took the time to click it to go in to just call me names. I was like, that's a dedicated person. You want that person on your side, almost like we want the spammer in here who's talking about wet pussies. Like, if that person,
they're fun at parties.
They're fun at parties, and if you got that person to pimp your YouTube channel, you'd be a billionaire by now.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's move on from there and talk about free games, Reg.
Right. Okay. Scroll up. Free games, free for everyone. On the Epic Game Store, we have Black Widow Recharged and Centipede Recharged.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
What? I don't even know what those are. Black Widow, the X-Men person?
Like the super
Avengers?
old games.
Wow.
What was it? Atari? I don't know even.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Even older. Okay.
In remake form.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's it with that totally free games. On to PC Game Pass, we have Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13 and Far Changing Tides. On PlayStation Now, Chicken Police Painted Red which I played, and that was a good game.
Oh,
Can
okay.
definitely recommend. Crisis Remastered, Relicta, and Shadow Warrior 3.
What?
Yeah, it's free
Shadow
on
Warrior 3
PS.
is
This is like the first
Oh.
PS Now
Yes,
free.
now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
On PlayStation
Oh, sorry.
Plus, PlayStation Plus, we have Ark Survival Evolved, Ghost of Tsushima Legends, Ghost Runner, and Team Sonic Racing. On Prime Gaming, so that's Twitch, Crypto Against All Odds, Look Inside, Madden NFL 22, Pester Quest, Steam World Quest, Hand of Gilgamesh, The Stillness of the Wind, and Surviving Mars. On Stadia Pro, Adam Wolf, Darksiders Genesis, Darkwood, also a good one, Dawn of the Monsters, and Race with Ryan, Road Trip Deluxe Edition. And Xbox Games with Gold, The Flame and the Flood, and Sacred 2 Fallen Angel. And the Xbox Game Pass console has the same one as PC. Okay, yeah, so that's the list.
Yo, Game Pass seems to be getting a lot of Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
They have almost every Final Fantasy on there.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And I mean, Shadow Warrior, it's, I was talking to the people behind it, and I was like, listen, man, the game's good, but at the price, it's ridiculous. It's actually very expensive for how short it is. However, every company that does first-person platforming should take that as their god. Like, the platforming in that is loose and very open with interpretation, that you tried to hit the grab button somewhere nearby, so we're going to let you do it. And it feels so good. It's so good as a first-person platform. You're just running, juking, moving. It's got amazing animations and stuff, but it's 3.5. Well, it took me longer, but I also review and I test, like, it has FSR and all that, so I had to test all that. I was about 6.5 hours. I saw somebody say 4. They beat it in 4. I would assume.
Jesus, it's
on
short.
easy. Well, on easy, I would assume that, but I played on the hardest, because they even warn you. We were even warned middle is sort of like a little bit too easy. So I decided.
I know with Shadow Warrior 2, they made it more of a looter shooter. So there were like
That is
side
not
quests
this.
and stuff. They went back to like a Doom style.
And the arenas are
just
pretty small.
super
That was
fun.
my other big because, dude, it gets fucking hectic. And you're super fast. You're able to swing. You're running, leaping. They're running, leaping. They're shooting. You have enemies that have homing ice attacks. Plus, you can chop them. Plus, you can grab parts of their body and use it as weapons. And everybody.
Jesus.
So a lot of the upgrades you would normally buy are on the enemies. So, for example, one guy, you punch his head off, and you grab his eyeball, and when you throw it, it freezes the enemies. Another enemy, you pull out their insides, and it's a gun. Another enemy has an amazing targeting sword that targets enemies and jets you towards them like Halo.
Oh, nice. The sword. Yeah. Energy sword.
Energy sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. I want to read a couple super chats because somebody said that they got ignored. I thought we answered theirs. First of all, Jay Soisey Music. Jay Soisey, $1 super chat. Thank you very much, Jay, for showing up. Adventure Stuff, $10. Thanks for doing this. What games from the last? Oh, we're going to talk about the goats in a second. That sounds weird. We're going to talk about goat games in a second. Devin says, any other suggestions on a gaming channel besides Start? I noticed something else got a more long-winded answer. Yeah, I was returning to both of those because 2 people asked it. Is there any other than all the stuff that we said about starting out a channel?
It depends on the platform, like massively, because if it's YouTube, it's a whole different ball game. Like Twitch is strictly game streaming,
and they're strict.
Yeah.
So YouTube still has you have to be this big and blah blah blah. But Twitch, when you assign as an affiliate or a partner, you can't even stream on YouTube, which to me is a big.
Yeah, that's affiliate as well.
Sorry, you're right. I almost said that, but I wanted to hedge it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Platform matters. YouTube lets you just do whatever. You could double stream on Facebook, which personally I would say you might as well do those and see what happens. Because if it catches on, then you can be like, all right, I don't need to worry about this shit. You never know.
Because you could do Facebook, fucking TikTok, and you never know what's going to take off.
And I think the nice thing about YouTube, hurts and is nice, is that if you want, you can try different stuff. We stream this, and I appreciate everybody. By the way, please tweet out we're doing this, because that's not an empty request. Streams do hurt solid videos. So you put a video up and then you put a stream up. The YouTube algorithm is fucked up, and so it thinks that you're spamming all day long. So for 4 hours right now, it is thinking I'm releasing a video like every hour. And what happens is that means people will not get the next video from me. And to tell you guys how much it affected, I went down about 200,000 views in reviews the day we switched from like Twitch jumping here. So, I mean, huge. Like, people just don't get informed. Or they see the podcast and are like, oh, I don't want to watch the podcast, which then tells YouTube they don't want to watch shit. They don't want to watch anything. And that's why I tell a lot of people unsubscribe and resubscribe, because that actually sort of resets it. But yeah, platform matters. And I can't speak towards Facebook's platform at all. I know some people stream there, but I can't speak towards what they need. Next super chat, Accelerated Evolution, $2. Karak, you didn't think it had way too many cutscenes?
He's talking about Shadow Warrior. Did you think it had too many cutscenes?
No, I loved them. I even talked about them in there. So listen to this. The cutscenes merge with the action, which is fucking phenomenal. So like
nice.
Wang will kick a door, fall down. He'll fucking bitch and moan. But when he finally kicks the door, it jumps into gameplay. Or he'll be sliding down a ravine, leap up, and it switches to gameplay, and you fall down into the platform. It's not perfect because there's some loading that they're hiding in those cutscenes, and you notice the stutter. But it doesn't matter. I was still like, that needs to be in every game. I mean, it really felt cool. There were times where, like, merging into that cutscene, I was like, oh, shit, this is great.
I love that stuff, dude. Metro Exodus did that, too, where everything's from the first person, so you get, like, a cutscene of
Also, if you
fighting
took all the
something.
cutscenes out, it would still be too short. So at that point, I'm just like, were there too many? No, the game was just too short, regardless. Last, Bambeeks, $49.99, Electrum-looking money. I hope this war will be small enough to not get a game. I hope this war will be small enough to not get a... Oh!
Yeah.
Also, it's
I
Euro
get the
again.
thought process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
I don't want to see Arma. I don't want to see Arma doing a scenario in Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would suck. That's why I'm okay. People say this. They'll be like, man, Call of Duty needs to go back to boots on the ground, World War II. Fuck you. We saw what happened, and it sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked. That game was terrible, the World War II one that we returned to.
I was going to say, you know what it is?
fake
I've
ones.
had this complaint about Call of Duty for a while, and specifically returning to World War II games, because none of them are grounded and realistic at all.
So why are you thinking that going back there will be realistic, right?
Yeah, do it justice. If you're gonna do a World War II game, do it justice. It was a grim time in history. It was not. It was not.
And be able to show a fucking swastika, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, for whatever reason, we've gone the way of this weird thought protectorate where we say everything affects the children. Like everything.
The only place where the swastika is still banned naturally is Germany. And they do censor it. They do censor it in games.
But what I'm saying is, I think...
Although even that rule as a rule is out by now. It's only like pure self-censorship now.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
What I was saying was I think a lot of people hedge on doing Nazis. And that to me is like, show it.
Yeah, it's so dumb to me. That doesn't make sense to me. If you want to do a
terrible.
World War II game, be able to do a fucking World War II game. Don't like skimp out on
jump in
what are
and
you
be like,
protecting?
this is how to, and I'm not saying current, because I do think it's too current. Not at all saying that. But if you're gonna go to World War I, World War II, it was terrible, man. Mustard gas, things that like now. I mean, the reason why the Geneva Conventions and shit were created is because how terrible wars are. So it's like, show how terrible they were and be like, the reason why we don't gas people is because this is the fucking. And by the way, that is a weird thing to say. We can't gas them, but we can drop a fucking missile on them. You're like, wait, what? But you know, there's a lot of weird rules. I'm sorry, I interrupted
Battlefield
you.
1 did that well, by the way. On Battlefield 1, where they did the little intro sequences where they show your character is never the same because you just die, and as soon as you die, you go to the next person next to you.
True.
Yeah.
Shows them all dying in different scenarios.
You know what, man?
That was great.
I don't think I mentioned that in the review. I mentioned it in the review, but I don't think I caught on to that being really a good idea, that they die. You know, I was okay with the snippets. I thought that I was actually enjoyable.
It was like that person is literally dead. Gone. That character is out. Like, you never playing that character again. He's out.
That's
again.
a really goddamn, man. That's a good point. You know, That's on me. There we go. We're just pointing out. Don't watch me as a reviewer. Apparently, I suck. Next one up, part 4, $2. Mess with the Wang, get the sword is classic, dude. There's a lot of one-liners in Shadow Warrior that are great. Accelerated Evolution, $2. I love the combat. Dark Messiah of Might and Magic spikes, dude. Dark Messiah of Might and Magic is probably, other than Vermintide, one of the best up-close fighting games ever made.
It was awesome, dude. That combat was really, it still holds up.
Kicking somebody into the fucking nether, like they'd be like guarding, and you're like, ha, boom, and it was just like, fuck you. I didn't even use a weapon, bitch. It was prior to gonading somebody. What are we calling it? Teabagging? I'm sure there's a new slang for it, but it was like that moment when you kick somebody off, you're like, ha. It was like the teabag of the time. Oscar, $2 thing. We're just gonna say $2.
Euro.
Was hoping to get in. Was hoping to get in here in time for the donation. Thank you very much, Oscar. Euros. It looks like Electrum, the cryptocurrency, which always. All right, so
would be worth more than probably.
It would. Moving on from there, we talked about new tablets. Talked about that. Scrolling down, we talked about that. Johnny, Breath of the Wild 2 release date somewhere in 2022.
Yeah. I mean, not a lot of info, but...
Who said that?
So I posted the source there that's V4...
Did Nintendo, or is this a rumor?
Let me actually look it up, because I don't want to, mess up.
What do you guys think?
Here.
Feel free. Dutch, are you a Switch owner?
Yes.
Are you a Zelda, what was the other one? Breath of the Wild. Are you a Breath of the Wild fan?
I've got it. I've attempted on many occasions to play through that game.
You're going to get some heat.
Not for me.
Not for you. You're going to get some heat. Somebody's going to be mad. Are you excited for this?
I don't know what it was about it, because it is a nice game. It is like it is cool to play, but when something just doesn't grab you enough to continue to want to play it.
Yeah.
That was it. I was like, it's a good game. I'm never going to deny it's not a great game. The problem is it just doesn't catch us, and I don't care about the characters.
Right.
I don't care about the world or the story. And when you don't care about the story or what you're doing, what's the point?
Are you looking towards this new one then?
I'll always look towards it to see if it improves, if it does something that will grab me, and improve in certain areas. The problem I've got around Nintendo and what it does as a whole is that I just don't think they provide enough to the developers in order to really get the best out of them.
Okay.
And from a hardware perspective, and that's the thing I think holds Nintendo back.
Also, in their YouTube description and their sequel to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, they have planned for release and hashtag Nintendo Switch in 2022. That's Nintendo, the official YouTube.
Yeah. So here from Collider.com, Nintendo's latest financial report confirms that the highly anticipated The Legend of Zelda Game of Breath of the Wild 2 is still on track for 2022. And then in Nintendo.com, so their website, they have announced that they are aiming for 2022 as well for Nintendo Switch.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Is it you guys, Reg, like, are you?
Not overly, because I had the same problem with Breath of the Wild 1.
The weapons.
It didn't grab me enough to even want to play it.
Yeah, I think we're at that point where you're probably going to get what we expect. So if 1 didn't grab you, maybe 2 wouldn't. But I'm like Dutch, where I'll wait. I'll see. I'll check it out. And sort of look to see if it's something.
Also, another one that did surprise me was we're getting another Pokemon game in the same year.
Oh, wow.
Dude, what is going on with these Pokemon games?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, 2. Yeah.
2 technically. Yeah.
Well, 2.
That's still pretty shocking. That's 2 more than we normally. I mean, normally most years have 0, and when they do have 1, we don't get a second one.
It looks to me like they were essentially doing all of these side by side, because Arceus is essentially the first version of their actual open world Pokemon, their first flavor of it.
Yeah.
Whereas the whatever this, I keep forgetting the names of it, Velvet or whatever it's called, and
forgot as well.
Whatever the names of them are, they are the modern day Pokemon. Looks like it's based in something like Tuscany or something.
Mm-hmm.
but that seems to be actually seem to be the new mainline titles, and Arceus was more just this is the formula for open world. Do you like it?
Makes sense. I think when you look at like, I'll always look at a game, even if I didn't like the original, you know, because you never know, it might surprise you. They might. I mean, look at Fallout. It's switched its entire viewpoint in 3, so like those kind of things can happen. But I think with this one in particular, will probably be exactly what we expect. So nothing wrong with that. If people like it. I had a really hard time getting into that game, but I think it was just those Nabisco cracker fucking weapons. Like I want to kill somebody with a sword, not a Trisket. And no matter what I did, it was like throwing chips at somebody. It just didn't
not just that, but also the like missing usability features, like having quick access for your equipment.
Yeah.
Like manually going in every time there was a lightning going on to detach everything that was metallic.
Yeah. A lot of ideas. Maybe that's what we'll get though. You know, maybe because I call it bouncing, but when you bounce off of a game that you think you should like because there's issues, I'm going to be brutally honest. I bounced off Elden Ring a couple times because of the fucking UX, the inventory, the menus. I mean, it's just absolute dog shit. Like
Dude,
that was.
I wish they had the recently obtained items at least, or recently equipped.
But I mean, it's like, oh, equip this over here, but not over here. Grab this, then see the fucking secondary data about it, then see the tertiary data, and you're like, why? What are you guys doing? Oh, but you can do a simplified view where it shows you nothing.
Nothing. It
It's
shows you
just
nothing.
like, who fucking would use that? It's a game about not using that kind of stuff. Why would you? Whatever. I could go on. Abbreviated reviews, always with the weird number 1111. What's everyone most excited for in March, and why is it Kirby?
Kirby.
Yeah, right.
Kirby.
What's coming out in... Oh, I know mine. It's Weird West. Easily. Yeah.
Weird West got a
I'm
lot
excited
of
about
hype. A lot of hype
Well,
for Weird West.
I would add Stranger of Paradise, the Final Fantasy game made by the people
Oh,
behind
that too.
Neo.
Yeah.
So it's like Neo and Final Fantasy. I don't know what the hell that's gonna be, but
So many good games coming out.
I've
Well, not
just
good, but
literally
like...
cancelled my pre-order for that one. Actually,
why? What happened?
I am not convinced with that game whatsoever. Like in terms of the combat, the way the game looks, the story, the characters, but overall, it's I don't know what the quality control was on the CGI trailers. Look terrible, like really bad. Like the cutscenes look horrific.
Yeah, they were bad.
But
Yeah.
the gameplay looks great. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is going on? And then how does that translate into the story? Like, does the story just get ultra cheesy and like? But
Dude,
I, don't know,
I
just-
saw one. I saw
then-
one thing. Sorry, no, go ahead.
I was going to say then the main character is essentially just a reused core from Final Fantasy 15. So it's it just seems like a kind of game that they're putting out for the sake of putting out, and in the Final Fantasy
using the name
kind
and
of
all that.
area.
Yeah.
I just saw one thing from the game, one scene that made me go like, holy shit, this might be the best game of all time. And it's the main character talking to some woman that was like explaining lore or something and going deep into it. And all he says is bullshit. Presses play on his phone, Limp Bizkit is on, and he just walks away. He just walks away listening to Limp Bizkit. And I was like, Jesus Christ. This game is amazing.
They always have some little weird pop culture kind of thing in their games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even really have one for March yet. There's some good games. ML $49.99 donation. Thank you very much. Devin James, $10 super chat. Do y'all feel like Doom Eternal and Shadow Warrior 3 have some of the best FPS campaigns in recent memory? Also, do y'all feel like Bright Memory Infinite was overlooked? So much so I never played that.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I was waiting for the console release of that version anyway. I wasn't getting it on PC. I've already got the little version of Bright Memory that they put onto the console as well prior to this as like a teaser for what Infinite was. To be fair, it's an okay game. There's one guy, but he has outside help. I think he got outside help from about 7-8 people or something like that.
He did. Which is fine, by the way.
Yeah,
Right?
100%. I mean, the work he's doing as a solo developer, it still looks tremendous.
Yeah.
It's got a cool little style and flair about it. Of course, with stuff like that, you're gonna have to. I wouldn't say be forgiven, but you're gonna have to be understanding that some of these developers still have a lot of learning to do when it comes through to solo development and things that they can do to improve the game from a quality of life perspective. in terms of how things handle maybe sometimes, or physics, how weapons go, how weapons react, damages, etc. But it was a good idea. The price point and the price entry on it was super low, which is always helps when a solo developer's like that.
Yeah.
Because I think it was on PC, is if you already owned Bright Memory.
It was.
You
Yeah,
got
I
Infinite.
saw that. Mm-hmm.
So it was like a super like low return of investment for it. Worth checking out if you're interested in it, but it's not like by no means end of the world if you haven't.
Reading here, some people are saying making sure that their super chats are for or not for the donation. One thing you also can do is get some of the best shirts ever made. So click on the merchandise list. We've sold over a couple thousand ACG shirts. They've sold incredibly well, and they're also fairly high quality, which has surprised me because normally the shit I get's low quality. Johnny got one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're not your normal like
T-shirt?
cotton T-shirt
I don't know
that
what they
kind of
are.
goes bad after 1 month. They are a different fabric.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they're quite light, and yeah, they feel pretty good.
Special week, $10 super chat. Karak, if Horizon would have an empty map and icons appear as you just... Okay. Karak, if Horizon had... I'm going to translate this. Had an empty map and icons appear as you discover them. Karak, if Horizon would have an empty map and icons appear as you discover them, though there is an option to hide icons, but it hides what you have discovered, would the game have gotten a higher score? I said it was a buy.
Right.
So that's impossible.
Does he mean in the critic score as a whole, as opposed to just yours?
Dude, Horizon scored high.
It did. I mean, yeah, that's nitpicking though. That's like somebody that prefers something over the other.
Right. That I mean, so I would love that. Right. I love the idea. I tried to play it with the HUD off, and it still has dynamic HUD elements you can't turn off, which sucks. I do agree on one, though, because it's got this little cross, right? And you have to use right and left to choose your hundreds of different potions and all that shit. You couldn't do that with no HUD. It'd be quite difficult to figure out, be like, it's 3 to the right was for the magic or the fucking health or whatever. That'd be pretty difficult, but I still would have liked to have tried it. I wouldn't have told other people to do it. I love no HUD gaming, though. So it's a good question. I wasn't dissing on him. People typing in, dude, trust me, I type shit that I'm sure people are like, what the fuck's he talking about in Discord? Because I'm using my thumbs on a...
Yeah.
You didn't need to agree that quick.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't need to agree.
Dude.
Relax.
Especially when you're using your
voice
speech to text thing and there's zero punctuation.
When you and I were talking about crypto that night and I was laying down.
And you're just going crazy.
I was just like not thinking. I'm like, so, because my brain was like, Absy's right here. And I'm like, so anyway, when you talk about the blah, blah, blah. And then I hit enter and I looked. No fucking, just nothing. It was just...
Just
it's
words.
like I took a wiki and pasted it. Soch Gremlin 117, $20 super chat. Karak, did you ever play the Earthworm Jim games back in the 90s? Yes. And
I remember
I loved Earthworm Jim, but I also liked Had a Worm in It, Toe Jam and Earl. I liked all those older goofy games. Scream Bleed Die Rot says Horizon is trash.
All right.
Okay.
Cheers.
Copy.
Cheers.
Checks out. All right. I do want to talk about this. Shinobi had posted. Shinobi's been on the podcast before. He's sort of, at one time was a leaker. Now he's working at a specific game company, so he doesn't have all the ins, but he did hear about something, posted it, and now it's sort of out and about, but Stalker got delayed because of the situation in Ukraine and Russia. And we were trying to track down all the companies that were there, and there's quite a lot of companies that, and one of the reasons why is cost of living. Many people, especially with Unreal, I was talking to one developer. I was like, why do you think gaming's burgeoning in some of these smaller places? One of the things they stated was that Unreal went free, right? These older engines that used to cost a ton of money have gone free, so the cost of getting in isn't as expensive. The cost of making something look amazing isn't as expensive. Again, we're not talking about scale or expertise. We're talking about sometimes just making something. And man, there was a lot of games that they listed. It's going to definitely impact COVID and this thing.
I mean,
1-2 punch for the gaming industry, man. 1-2 punch.
It's gonna have large repercussions.
Yeah. No Man's Sky, where are they? Are the No Man's Sky?
Aren't they in UK somewhere?
I thought they were in the UK somewhere. Okay. So, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
We're okay so far.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's another thing. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
That's a personal thing. But I'll just say I do have, I do know people there. And one of the big things also is that, I had a couple patrons leave, and this isn't talking out of turn, but I had a couple patrons leave because they're like, I'm going to use the money for donations. I'm like, I totally get it. You can just stay in the Discord. I don't give a fuck. But it's affecting people tangentially too. Like, someone who knows someone or whatever. And then not depression, but whatever you might call it sets in. People don't want to be as creative. It's very hard to be creative when personal stuff's happening. And so some people are going to be in the UK where they're just like, yeah, I'd rather have a normal job right now because instead of like doing a YouTube channel, because I need a normal job right now. I can't, just sort of hope things are going to get better. It's a 1-2 punch, man. It's just when we started to get COVID sort of, I don't want to say in line because some places are getting hit really hard, but I mean, just we're starting to figure things out, I would say. And this happens, and it's tremendously accelerated. It's gone from like, oh, something happened to everybody's money's frozen to, like all the banking stuff and, people like this, people's cryptocurrency. There was a couple issues there where there's some cryptocurrency issues. So yeah, gaming's going to get hit. Stalker. What else do we got? Where are the Metro
gaming
guys?
chip production is
There's,
getting even
Chip
worse as well.
production. Yeah. Sorry, I apologize. Go ahead. Whoever was talking. I just repeated. What'd you say, Dutch?
I was just saying the indie game Replaced is also being delayed and pushed back.
Has it? I
Yeah.
didn't even see that. Okay. What about you,
And
Abzi? I think you were saying something too.
No, I just said there's a lot of Russian-based companies. There's the Escape from Tarkov devs who haven't said a word since February 24th. And
No,
there's-
really?
Yeah. They haven't tweeted. I haven't checked today, but last I checked. And I mean, Atomic Heart. We got Atomic Heart, which is another
Metro.
Russian game.
I had mentioned Metro, and Dane
There's
says they
Metro,
were in.
yeah.
They're in Kiev. What? It's not. Is it Kiev?
Kiev.
Kiev.
Yeah, I know that Stalker 2 devs, they are in Ukraine, so yeah, it was expected. Just obviously people are dying, and that does suck a lot, but this also sucks because
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Stalker's
I mean, we're
Yeah.
now just talking about industry.
Yeah.
There's certainly nothing wrong with talking about like how it affects everything, which it does.
Yeah.
And and Reg brought it up. I'd forgot, but the chip things being infected.
Well,
being
chips
impacted.
and also at least for Europe, food, because Russia and Ukraine are a major producer of all grains, like 60%, I think.
Frogwares. Is Frogwares there? Frogwares is there, I think. The guys who did Call of Cthulhu and did Sherlock, are they not there?
Yes, they put out a thing saying they're also halting development.
Yeah,
on
they're
games and
halting
stuff.
development.
Are they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Oh, somebody else just
Because
said
if
the
I
same thing.
If I look up Frogwares, it says Ireland, so I'm confused now.
I don't know. There's
I don't know, but they did put out a thing.
they did,
I
yeah.
remember.
Yeah. Beyond
By
Good...
the way,
Oh, go ahead.
oh sorry.
Nope, go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, because Silver is not here to do something in his spirit, a bit of trivia. Kiev changed the spelling from I to Y, so now it's pronounced Kiev. No, sorry. What's the other one that you said?
Kiev.
Kiev, which is closer to the Russian pronunciation. So they actually changed the spelling so people pronounce it closer to the
Janko
Russian.
Whiskey says, donation, have a great weekend, but then later says, please don't try to pronounce my name. You're a good man. You're a good man. Thank you very much for the donation. You rock. As we wrap this up, looking here.
There was one more thing here.
Yeah,
the
there was.
Sifu.
Well, past that, because I think I think Dutch brought this up. Was this year's hiring struggles at Quantic Dream?
That's the one. Yep, Quantic Dream. It's I don't know, like this is the fun. The I don't understand why they announced the game
So
so soon.
Sony.
Yeah.
asked them to. I bet.
So Quantic Dream Star Wars Eclipse is being aimed to release in 2027 or 2028.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Like this has to be surely the furthest out a game has ever
It's
been
gotta
announced.
be. It's gotta be. Yeah.
To then be released what would potentially be the tail end of the generation, if not the end of the generation.
Oh, dude, I mean, you look at 20, dude, the world will be nothing. I mean, we have no clue. That's so many years down the line that at this point, I'm just, it's
we
a
know
thought
one
process.
thing probably.
Like
it
that,
will still be
even
the Switch.
I was going to say the game at that point is like is just a thought process.
Yeah, it's
Like,
exactly it. Yeah. Yeah. It's just a thought.
I don't understand then why they bothered to announce it.
Like I
if
said,
you're struggling-
my opinion is Sony, that because remember that was an exclusive for them on their show or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming Sony was like, we would like you to put together a, you know,
And
preview of
hiring
some kind.
struggles, it's that has to be, and we have to go down to one certain route here, but the hiring struggles has to be down to workplace, the way the workplace is viewed. Quantic Dream are exactly in the same boat as Ubisoft's and Activision's.
Except smaller.
Yeah.
But
the way they treat their staff. So if they're having struggles hiring people, we know why.
yeah, I mean, this is something that as we go into with all of these, like all of these companies delaying, we'll see some people move, I'm sure. We'll see some people adjust. We'll see some be delayed, and then some will just, because of switching of technology, I would assume we will probably see some games just not come out ever, because the thing about this is the longer it gets delayed, now you're a different technology. Then you have to look at, like, are we going to get SD or the development kits, SDKs for the new, if it's new hardware, like shit's going to be, that's a long time out, man. And as Reg said, it'll still be the Switch. That'll be the only thing that's the same. As Switch 2 still won't be a fucking thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Steam Deck, somebody was asking me my thoughts. You know, I ain't as hot on it as everybody else. I'll just say that. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a Switch killer. I think Switch is a Switch killer. The lack of technology on their part. I think some people lack of good games on their part, new games. They're not really doing a lot on the Switch, so I could certainly see the Steam Deck doing well there. Reg, have you got yours?
No, I have not.
I'm waiting for you to send us a picture of Gabe at your house.
It's it's probably still gonna take a while.
Handing them out.
I'm expecting maybe mid of March, I guess, because in the pre-order rush, it took me quite a while till I got through the login.
Yeah, same.
I think it's awesome that we get this tech. I think that, you know, we're gonna see improvements in the handheld market, which is only exciting, dude. The new tablets are exciting. New phones are exciting, unless it's Highway or whatever, where they're probably.
Although one thing about the new Samsung tablet that confused me is the screen is super dark. I don't know what they did.
You mean like
I think it's below 400 nits.
For the new Samsung?
Yes.
Yeah, so what I read was that because it's OLED, fully OLED, they decided to go with less brightness and just use the absolute blacks. But I don't like that because I don't use my tablet in a dark room. Like, in fact, most of the time I'm using, even if I'm watching a show like we talked about earlier, cuddled up in the womb position, I still usually have a light on. So I like the brightness.
Doubly confused me because the new phones they brought out, they were like 1,700
yeah,
nits.
they're high.
It's
yeah,
super bright. It's burning out.
Do you
your
think that might
retinas.
be a battery thing? Maybe there's
possibly.
something...
I mean, they are super thin, so maybe some power supply.
I mean, dude, batteries are bad on the Steam Deck. Damn, son. So, like, I think that until we get a new battery tech, maybe they're looking at that. Samsung usually does really good, so I don't really know why it's a low. You know, I did see other people mention it.
Very weird to me.
Yeah, but tech is awesome, guys. There's so many cool things, man. There's to come out of this, you know, there's some negatives, but there's so many cool bits of tech that are coming out that people are going to be able to. There's some. Oh, also, yes, I did talk about it in the Discord. There's some surprise announcements for April and May. I'm trying to make sure I got the dates right, and some stuff coming out that supposedly, well, I know one hasn't been announced, and I'm fully 100% like these are for sure coming just because of, talking about coverage for them. I think we'll get some surprises, but I do think 2022 fall is going to be pretty lean. You got Starfield. They say it's coming. I don't know.
I ain't believing shit
Redfall.
until I see a game, man.
Yeah.
But I feel like every single AAA game is gonna get delayed.
Yeah, I think Redfall could as well. Redfall still had no gameplay or anything for it.
Oh
either.
my God, Redfall! That's the four-person vampire one, right?
Borderlands kind of thing.
Forgot all about that. Yeah, that's another thing, man. That's how do we know? How do we know where that even is? Yeah, because I have a feeling that's probably. It doesn't seem far along. No footage at all, right? We haven't seen any footage. Or we'll get a Deathloop situation where, we don't know what it is right up until that fucking thing releases.
Yeah, right.
Man, that was confusing. Dude, I was watching, I remember even in this podcast, week to week, we were like, I don't know what this game is.
Yeah, at first I was like, oh, is it a roguelike?
They did a good job in the 2 weeks prior, because I remember there was one trailer that finally was like, this is what the game was. And it's like, oh, thank God, because... I don't think a lot of people even understood it. It's a little bit like the what's the horror game coming out? Ghostwire Tokyo.
That weird fucking.
You're still like, what exactly is it? And how are we gonna go about that? But
apparently in the same universe as Alan Wake or some shit. I don't know.
Is it?
No. It's some other game.
It's in the same universe as Evil Within. It was supposed to be. That was supposed to be Evil Within 3, and. So I don't even want to say the same universe. It was supposed to be Evil Within 3 at the starting, and it's switched to whatever it is now. Until we play it, I don't know if it's actually is that or not. Plague Tale, somebody brought up Hogwarts Legacy. Though Hogwarts Legacy, I'm stoked for. That could be awesome.
That could be delayed as well, mind.
Yeah, remember that got announced, right? You guys remember it got not announced? I'm sorry, leaked. We saw the leak of some footage of that, and then it disappeared. So Gotham Knights, somebody says. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if Gotham Knights actually comes out. But anybody have anything to finish this up with? Anything? All right. So look in here. We're at about $1,500 for the super chats. I'll match that for sure. We'll send that off. You guys know me. I'll do the receipts. I always do the receipts. I've done this before on various different animal shelters. I think was the last one I did. Well, and I want to say thanks to everybody who did donate. You don't have to. I get it. You may not have the money. You may be affected by all this shit. That's another thing. Can't ask somebody to donate when you're trying to donate to them. That's a little weird. Like, well, I can give you $20 if you give me 20 back. But I absolutely appreciate you guys doing it. It's been awesome. Big thanks to Dutch for coming on in somewhat short notice. I was just like, oh shit, man, we got to get him on. It was a good time to have you on, and I definitely appreciate your guys' positive, sort of positive atmosphere. Because I think now we're going to need it more than ever, where people are just,
100%.
You can still argue about stuff, but it's like, do we really need to come after each other when all this other shit's happening? Like, do we really need to? Is it really that important? I don't know. For some people it is. Let's see. What else do we got? You'll see some reviews from me and previews. I'm starting to get on preview lists, which is pretty cool. I can't say what they are, though. I don't think. Nope. ACG, respect as always. It's been a great podcast. You guys have been on a roll lately. Thank you very much. Oh, next week's guests. Dude, I can't believe it's The Rock is coming on the podcast.
What?
Yes, the actor The Rock is coming on the podcast. I'm fucking lying. Of course he's not coming on the podcast. But that would be amazing if he showed up.
It would be. It would be.
I had one little thing inside.
I was gonna continue it, but no one even said, "Are you lying?" And I was like, "Oh shit, I don't want somebody taking that and running with it." So I had to.
Yeah.
No, we are. You guys maybe notice we are trying to get more people on the podcast. More guests. We definitely want to do it. It's awesome having people like Dutch on here where. There's some positivity. That's pretty much the type of guest I'm looking for. You won't see us bring in any, Siskel and Ebert type motherfuckers up in here. But it's been awesome. We had Gene on. Gene Park is like a phenomenal dude. He came on with COVID, which was crazy. He told me after the podcast too, he's like, we were the last thing he did. And then he slept for like 2 days. He's like that. Yeah, he's in bad shape still. He was just talking about this, by the way.
I don't know if that was
all on Twitter.
Or...
Well, yeah, he could have just been like, God. But he did talk about this on Twitter, so I'm not talking out of turn, but he was saying that, like, he's got long COVID, you know, and it's even fucking up his writing, you know, where he's having difficulty, like, sort of putting thoughts together and stuff. So we definitely want to say how much we appreciate him showing up. Appreciate you guys showing up. Dutch, you're welcome.
Quick reminder.
And, whoa, Johnny's got a quick reminder.
I'm sorry, just quick reminder for other people out there that play League of Legends. Remember to grab your free shit on Prime Gaming. You can go, you just search League of Legends Prime Redeem, and you go there, you get free shit for skins and champions and all that at the roll of every month. Yeah.
Get your free stuff. That's what matters. There's free stuff everywhere. Make sure to get it. That's why we do the video, or that's why we have Reg talk about the free stuff, because there's so much there. You shouldn't be spending a ton of money unless it's on a shirt for ACG, right? Or you're paying for my Mountain Dew fetish.
Or donating to Ukraine.
Or donating to Ukraine, yeah.
Okay.
I listed them in the wrong order.
Right, yeah.
Got a shirt. You gotta get a shirt.
Ah, shit.
If we see somebody like, you know, going and helping people and they're in an ACG shirt, well, there we go. But I hope you're not spending money on us. That's it for us. Thank you guys very much for showing up. It's been a blast. Thanks to everybody who donates. Thanks to everybody who shows up. If you get a chance, check out the music video I did for Horizon Forbidden West. You'll see some guys on there who are really mad that I did free content. Make sure to let them know that they're right, and you know, free content should absolutely cater to them. Anyway, that's it for us. Thank you everybody for showing up. Peace out and enjoy the rest of your week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.